Oh, welcome everyone, moderators, people in chat, people viewing this video. I am going to play a video for you. It is only 4 minutes long. It is some of the, it's a very end of the Dr. Phil episode 3 of The Devil Beside Me that I had posted and done some commentary on, I don't know, sometime within the past week. There are a lot of key elements weaved throughout that video that when, focused in on and looked at closely, they're kind of really a big deal. So guys, this is one of those, okay?
But as I've said many times, we do have a legal system. We don't have a justice system. You go to the courthouse to pursue charges. You don't go to the courthouse for justice. Because you walk up those steps, you go through that door, you go in that courtroom, and there's all this mahogany wood, and there's this judge up on the bench, and there's a big seal behind him or her. There's all this pomp and circumstance. There's a lot of words spoken. A lot of decisions handed down, verdicts meted out, but nowhere among them is justice. Because the only justice would be for Shanann, Celeste, Bella, and this unborn child to be back in this world. That's not going to happen. That would be justice. But given the limits of the system, what could be done was done, and the nightmare seemed to be over. But investigators, not the prosecutors, but the investigators, they weren't quite done. After all this, they went back in to interview him again, one more time from prison. So what was their reason for this additional question? They got everything they can get, right? The legal system has worked. You can't try him for the same crimes twice. That's double jeopardy. So they've gotten all they're going to get. So why talk to him again? Well, we don't know for sure, but we do know that it would not make sense for them to be talking to him about further culpability on his part. They already have him. He pleaded guilty. They'd recovered the bodies. Did it really matter what other details he added to the situation? He was locked up and paying the price regardless of what he now said. Shanann's parents had a theory. They strongly believe the reason the FBI went into that prison was because of none other than Mistress Nicole. Shannan's mother claims she believes investigators went in on a mission to get Chris to roll on his mistress. He did not, at least not yet. And again, she has never been implicated or charged with any crime. It turns out the worst thing that Nicole did, in the eyes of the law, at this point, is to fall in love with the wrong man. But whatever the reason was that they went in for, they came out with way more than they ever could have bargained for. They came out with a real confession from Chris Watts, an admission of exactly when and how he, not Shanann, killed his two beautiful and innocent daughters. And his entire confession was recorded on tape. We were able to find out what was on those confession tapes before anyone else. Shannan's parents were told the grim and horrifying details before they were released to the media, and they wanted to be the ones to tell the world. They didn't want this to come out from some third party. They wanted to be the ones that reported this because they wanted to dignify their daughter. Understand, at this point, the world had been told that their daughter had murdered their grandchildren. And they sat there powerless to do anything about it. They sat there with some people in America believing that their precious daughter had murdered their precious grandchildren. And add that to the loss of their daughter and grandchildren, and it was almost more than they could endure. And finally, this monster excuse for a human being told the truth. And they wanted the satisfaction of reporting that to the world. They contacted us. They wanted me to come there and help them tell that story. They would do an interview with me and reveal for the first time what Chris finally confessed he had really done to their beautiful daughter and their grandchildren. What he said to the children, what he said the children witnessed, and what their final words were to their, quote, daddy. So I flew to Pinehurst and sat down with them. And they told me not only what was in that confession, but what this had done to their family. And I'm going to tell you on the next episode of The Devil Beside Me, the Chris Watts story. Husband, father, killer. I'm Dr. Phil.
Thank you.
What do you need?
The oil.
Oil?
I gotta close this.
Why?
Okay. Okay, so welcome guys. Let's see. Hello, Wen's mom, McKean, John McSmith, Utter Nutter, Priestess, Kitty Witty, Joan Bradley, RR. Oh my goodness. I still have to add you, my love. I went to bed right after we got off last night. I will see if while we're watching a video, I can pop in YouTube and do that. I'm very grateful that you're doing this for the channel, because you're an important part of the channel, like the other moderators and people in chat and subscribers and everyone. Hi Kitty Witty, how are you doing? Joan Bradley. Hi Kristen and Salon Savvy and doodle-doo-doo-doo. I'm not going to go up too much further. Let's see. Yeah, I'm sorry I was a little late, guys. It's just I have a lot of stuff going on with my mom being ill and having treatment, and my son's off on spring break, and I'm just feeling a little bit under the weather. Is anyone else feeling a little under the weather? I don't know if it's the change in like the weather or what it is, but for the last couple of days, I don't know. So anyhow, so hi Amy, how are you doing? So the reason, well, first of all, guys, it came up during our last live stream and possibly in the one before that, had Chris Watts, prior to being interviewed by Tammy Lee, Dave Baumhover, and Special Agent Graham Coder, when they traveled to Dodge Correctional Facility in Wisconsin to interview him again in February of 2019, which was about 3 months after his sentencing. The question came up, had he, prior to speaking with them, on that visit, said or admitted or conceded even that, okay, hey, listen, so that story I initially told you, that I walked in and I saw Shanann doing something to the girls and I did the same thing to Shanann, I was just nervous, as cover my butt. That didn't really happen. You kind of fed it to me, or, we were sort of going back and forth on whether that happened. So according to Dr. Phil's words, and I find him to be generally pretty accurate, I think with him, there are a lot of legal issues of exposure and liability if he's not. According to what he just said, that interview at Dodge Correctional Facility was the first time that Chris Watts gave anyone any indication of what really happened, that level of detail, the confirmation that, his daughters did travel in his work truck with him from their home to serve E319. So that was the first time that all came out. Yeah. And why else do I think that's important? It's 3.5 years after this tragedy occurred. As I think that we all know, or if you're new to this chat or watching this channel or this topic, you're going to get to know real quick the range of views and passionate views and firmly held views, and it's like absolutely immense in regards to this case. So I've observed people's views changing over time, sometimes from like straight up one side of the aisle to the other, sometimes more subtle than that. I've heard people discussing whether, both families, Chris Watt's family and Shanann's families, how their views have changed over time. And, I think that is normal. But why their views change, I think that there's a number of reasons. I'm not even go down that avenue. But I think that Dr. Phil, I think one of his, amazing strengths, like super talents, is that he has something about him that I believe, causes people to confront sometimes brutal honesty within themselves and within the world around them. And to, if even for the moments that they're with him, to come to terms, with that reality, how they really feel, how they really see the world, how the world really sees them, and, in the beginning of this in the beginning of his podcast and the end of the podcast that I just played, he says that, when this podcast was recorded and produced and put out on air, that, Shanann's family did believe that NK had some kind of involvement. And, I can't remember where I'm going with this. I got to take a drink. My brain is feeling, I think it's allergies. I think it's allergy brain. But, I think that's interesting. So I don't want to necessarily focus on that too much because we have talked about that a whole lot recently. But I think it's a very interesting point. So, I know one thing I did want to say, so as I have put that video out there and, I'm calling it the deleted episode. I don't know if deleted is probably not the best word. But I don't know what exactly the right word is. It was dropped off of that series of podcasts that he did, The Devil Beside Me. That episode 3, the one that I just put on the channel and that you just heard part of, was dropped off of the series for a time. It happened on my very own, iPhone or iPad or whatever I was listening to it, because I wanted to go back and listen to it again because I was really intrigued by this particular episode and, what Dr. Phil disclosed and the approach that he took and, kind of the nuances that he brought up. And I couldn't find it. And I looked and I looked and I looked and I looked outside my own, my own collection of music and podcasts and whatever, and it wasn't anywhere to be found. So now obviously you can find it. It is out there. Nothing disappears from the internet, right? But Dr. Phil is not officially claiming it is his. If he was, I'd have copyrights all over any video that I created that had any part of his video in it, because that's how Dr. Phil Enterprise works, So why, the question, there's got to be a big answer in my mind. Why did Dr. Phil have to kind of take this episode back, or disown it, or separate himself from it? He says, even in this podcast, the internet never forgets, and ain't that the truth? So he knows that the internet doesn't forget. He knew that the podcast wasn't going to go away. Not even Dr. Phil could make that happen, but he completely put a wall up between himself and any ownership or connection to this particular episode. Does anyone have any thoughts on why that might be? Mama Jane D, hello, my darling. I've been meaning to call you today. My day was very crazy, and I'm really glad to see you here. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to call you. Hi, Colby. How are you doing? Glad you're here too. And Mama Jane D, Colby, yeah. Let's see. Hidden episode, Mama Jane D, I do like that. Yeah. The channel Plunder also called it deleted. And you know what? I really like Plunder. You know, I didn't say, oh, hey, look, Plunder's doing that. I'm going to do that just like Plunder. You know, but I do watch Plunder. I watch a number of channels. I don't watch as many as I used to, but maybe that's kind of why that got stuck in my head. Or maybe that is the accurate term. I'm not sure. Hi, Tracy Wheeler. How are you doing? Nice to see you. Oh, Amy Ramirez, you went to the Watts house to pay your respects. I think that's really interesting. How is that? Would you be interested in talking about that? I am opening up to live panel tonight if people are interested. I don't want to pressure you, but if that's something you'd be willing to share, talk about, I think that I would love to hear about it personally. Was that like an emotional experience for you? I feel like it would be. I feel like there's a lot of energy at the very least in that house and around that house. And then, you know, certainly those of us who have been following the case for some time have a intense emotional connection to, you know, everything, the setting, that location, that house, and what happened there, and the life that used to imbibe it. It's pretty big stuff. Hi, Nancy. Yes, how are you doing? Nice to see you. It was an emotional experience. Yeah, I bet it was. Hi, Yarn and Mittens. How are you? Yarn and Mittens says, Kelly, can you imagine being an empath going there? Wow. It was I've thought that before. Yeah, that would be, I think, you know, hard for some people to handle. You know, I think some people, you know, who have highly empathic qualities, you know, if they're going to put themselves in situations like that, you know, I guess you can go in two ways. You can not be responsible about your own well-being and what you let, you know, kind of connect with you and what you take with you, or you can be responsible about it and take the right measures to protect yourself and those around you. And, you know, I'm thinking of, you know, like Mexi, you know, he went to the Watts house a few times and did live streams. And I definitely consider him an empath. And, you know, I just remember watching the live streams and having the impression that he was very responsible in how he handled everything. Hi, Nancy Ann. How are you doing? You felt sadness, Amy. Yeah. Amy, did you feel, you felt, so you're saying that sadness was the predominant emotion that you felt. Did you feel anything else? I don't want to ask a leading question. Yeah, you're right. Deleted implies aired, posted, and then taken down. That's right. Yeah. It's like weird. I can't think of like a precise word. I do like hidden or forgot. I don't know if there's a right word. Oh, well, hey. Priestess, there have been, and I'd love to talk about that tonight, actually. I'm starring that. We're going to get back to it. Pervasive, that's a good one too. Joan Bradley says, Dr. Phil should make a statement as to why he took it down, or don't do things until you can stand by it. Yeah, well, you know, hey, maybe that is the case. And, you know, I think that's good logic. That's good reasoning. That's integrity that, you know, you're explaining there. But I think that Dr. Phil also has a lot of compassion. You know, there may be there might be reasons rooted in compassion for the victims' families that had a part in that decision. And hey, guys, there might be legal reasons. I mean, there are, you know, there are FBI and CBI supplementary files that are missing from the discovery that aren't mentioned as being redacted. And, you know, I did a lot of looking into that, if that's, you know, like an okay, if that's procedurally acceptable. And it's, I maybe I just couldn't understand. To me, it felt like it was a gray area. Yeah. Oh, wait, Amy, I want to hear about Amy's experience here. Amy says, when I approached the front door and knowing that was the last time we all saw Shan. Oh, I know. Yeah. Oh, my ADHD life. It's so great to see you. And, I was just thinking about you. I was going to just speak of your name because Priestess, had mentioned the witness protection program situation. And you and I, I know that's an area of interest and great knowledge for you. Would you like to, I don't want to put you on the spot. Would you like to come up on panel and say a few words about that? Or, are you with your kids, not up for it? I would love to have you if you'd be willing. Yeah. So Joan Bradley then said she thinks it's probably a legal issue. I was taken down. Hi, Priya. How are you? Priya says that our family probably requested that it take down as their view on NK's role in the whole incident has changed. Yeah, that's kind of what I was. That's what I was thinking when I was just mentioning that his compassion for the family. If that's their wish. I mean, the immense amount of suffering and trauma that family endured is it's unreal. It's immeasurable. It's insane. It's something that, almost everybody who has ever lived on earth can't comprehend. And I think, Dr. Phil has an understanding of that, and he would do as they wished. I believe that. I don't know, just in my opinion. So, RR says they implicated NK, and that's most likely why it was taken down. Yeah. So again, that's, those are the two reasons that I always have going back and forth in my mind is that, the wish of the family and Dr. Phil's, compassion and empathy for them. Or is it, possibly some legal issue that arose. And, and I've listened to the entire episode a few times, kind of with the idea throughout, are there any other legal issues here that I'm perceiving? And I might not, but the overwhelming, outstanding, flashing and red, white, and blue lights is the idea of the mistress being implicated. Whereas in the other podcast, yeah, she was not, Okay, so Colby, ADHD life, you got to help me out, girl. Okay, so Colby Blanchard says, I thought NK was still in witness protection. Okay, so, she does want to join. Oh, thank you, Mama Jane D. You're so good. You are the Mama Jane D. Love that. Okay, so guys, this is a real treat. So ADHD Life is a moderator for the channel, and we've spoken about a few times the question comes up, was or is Nicole Kessinger in the witness protection program? And she has a factual, informed, and knowledgeable answer for you. So here, I'm going to pop the link up right now. And this is great too, because I'm kind of losing my voice tonight, but even better is the knowledge she has. All right, sweetie, there you go. And if anyone else that would like to come up on panel, you're welcome to. I have some topics I'm going to get focused on after we get the treat of hearing my ADHD life talking about what she knows about the witness protection program relative to Kessinger or the woman formerly known as Nicole Kessinger. Oh, good. I'm glad. Did you get the link? I just put the link in chat. I'll do it again. So I'm putting in chat right now. I found something, guys. I have to tell you. I'm not going to start talking about right now because I think it's a big deal. I found something in Discovery the other day I had to do some significant research into it because I didn't even want to mention it until I had done that research. I've never heard anyone else talk about it, or I've never heard boo about it. I can't wait to share this with you guys because I don't want to say I think it's something new because that sounds like kind of crazy, but I'm excited to share with you guys soon. That's all I'm going to say right now. Whee! Are you coming up, girl? It's okay. I don't want to rush you. Jump. So true. Priestess, no sign of her. Knows. Yeah, I know. Isn't that weird? So Priestess says that everyone knows what NK looks like, and if anyone saw her, it would pop up somewhere in seconds. I fully agree with that. I mean, she was able to get her social media and internet history scrubbed, which is nearly impossible. But to get herself and her physical presence scrubbed from the earth, I mean, she must have had some like major plastic surgery. I don't know. There's just so many people that would recognize her. I mean, her voice, her face, her, like, just so many things. So awesome. Okay, everybody, please welcome my ADHD life up to the panel. And she's going to tell us about the Witness Protection Program and why or why not NK is in it. Hey, girl, how you doing? Are you there? Let's see. It might just take a moment. Sometimes when someone first comes up, it's like weird.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes. Perfect. Welcome. It's great to hear from you. It's great that you're here. Oh, now I can't hear you if you're talking. We'll just give us a minute, everyone, to work it out. I can't hear you, and on my end, you're added to the stream, and I do not have you mute. There you go. I can hear something on you now. Now nothing.
Can you hear me?
Now I just heard you say, "Can you hear me?" Yeah, that's the only thing I heard.
Let's
Yep.
see. I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't? Do you have earbuds or anything you're using? Okay, so, I wonder how I can help her out. Yeah, so my ADHD life, if you can hear this, so when you join, what you want to do is you just want to click on the link that's going to bring you backstage on StreamYard. You want to close any YouTube windows you might have open on your computer or any device to eliminate the echo and any other possible audio issues. And, if you're using earbuds or headphones, sometimes that can create an issue. If you're not, you shouldn't have a problem hearing, but we'll see what we can do with that. So let's see. Her voice, it's crawled into our brains. I know. Oh my gosh. Well, that's true. Wens McKean says that she's pretty plain looking. It's so hard to blend in with a haircut and a hat on. Yeah, that could be. Yeah. Yeah. It's probably Bluetooth, sweetie. I'm thinking that's probably what it is. Oh, Salon Savvy. Good thinking. I'm sure that she attends gemology conventions. Yeah. And I mean, we know what her interests, her academic, her career pursuits, and all of that. We know what a lot those things are. It's very interesting that nobody has admitted to, spoken about, or put it out there that they've seen her, even run into her at the grocery store. Hi, Pamela Stevens. How are you? Okay, here's my ADHD life. Let's try to bring her up again. So again, this is one of the moderators on this channel, and somebody who's been following the Watts case closely for a while. And she and I have talked about whether or not Nicole Kessinger, the woman formerly known as Nicole Kessinger, is or is not in the witness protection program, and she has amazing insight into that issue. She's going to tell you about. So, hey, how you doing?
Good. Can you guys hear me?
Perfect. There you go. Yes.
It's not really amazing insight. It's just Google. According to the U.S. Marshal Service website.
Wait, are you the person that took a course or was that somebody else even?
It was not me.
It was not you. So we actually have another expert, but let's hear what you have to say. Cool. I'm gonna have to look at my email and figure out who that was. Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna see if I can find exactly what I wanted to share, but just to back up what I'm about to say.
Sure.
But what I read was that it's for people who were witnesses to like federal crimes, like with drugs or organized crime, like major issues, not just some random affair, a murder that was from an affair. Like what she went through does not warrant witness protection. But all that everybody's talking about how her dad might be a diplomat and things like that. So I've just speculated, it's just a hypothesis, that it's possible that she was in the witness protection program for something else. However, she has had that uncle with the same last name, and there's a lot of people with Kessinger names, so I don't know if that even would make sense. But I mean, there seems like there's something going on that would help her basically be wiped off the face of the earth in a sense. But I don't think she's in witness protection from the Watts case.
Okay, well, that's really interesting. So the person that, there is somebody who did study, I believe it was at NYU, some course of study where they'd taken some courses and learned all about the witness protection, how it works, what qualifies a person to go into that program. And what I learned from this person was there are, there's a pretty set and stable standards, and people who are in the witness protection program are those who testified under oath, as a material factor that ultimately put or tried to put whomever behind bars. And knowing that they were going to give that service, civic and service to the community, that they would be putting themselves personally in jeopardy. And so it's really under that kind of storyline, a person will be entered into the witness protection program. It's not just like, I had something to do with a crime, and it was a very bad crime. It was a terrible crime, and I feel uncomfortable about it. So witness protection, one order here, it's not like that. I'm being a little like hyperbolic there, but but she definitely did not fit those very specific standards that our witness protection program is designed for, because it has a specific purpose. And honey, it ain't NK.
Right. Okay. So I found this is on a different website. This is a criminaldefenselawyer.com. I don't know how accurate that is. Protective services for any witness or the immediate family of any witness who provides testimony in a case. If the witness's testimony is essential to the case, and if the act of testifying places the witness's life or the life of his or her family in jeopardy.
Right.
And then it says some of the eligibility criteria. organized crime, drug
Yeah.
trafficking, any serious federal felony that could result in retaliation against a witness,
Exactly.
any serious state felony. Okay, so there's something. Any serious state felony that could result in retaliation against a witness, any civil or administrative proceeding that could jeopardize a witness's safety.
Yeah. Yeah, so it has to, it has to go beyond just uncomfortability, which I think for Nicole Kessinger, guys, it was uncomfortability. I don't think I'm going to be able to go out in public for a long time, and that upsets me. So effing what, man? Like a pregnant woman and her little babies were just murdered. Like it's like people who go into the witness protection program, it's on a whole different level without allowing myself to indulge in my disdain for Kessinger sometimes. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so the U.S. Marshals website didn't have very much. I don't know the website I found like 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure what it was, but so I don't know. You all can take that information if you want, or take it or leave it.
Yeah, no, that's really great. That's good information. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Is there anything else that you've been, particularly interested in learning about or following regarding the Watts case? I know you were thinking about maybe like taking a step back for a little while.
I know. I go back and forth.
I know. I get it. I totally get it.
I'll take a break for a while, and then I'll search and just to see if anything has happened. Of course, nothing has.
That's right.
But people comment on Frankie Jr.'s YouTube, and they'll say, leave the family alone. And one person even said, NK is only guilty of a few white lies. And I'm like you. White lies. This is a triple homicide.
Yeah.
There's no excuse.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's right. And, I was going to look at some of the, I'm going to kind of see what the people here in chat want to do, but I was going to look at some of the comments, on the channel, just as like, if I'm sitting down in the evening and going through them, and because the thing, the things we read are crazy, right? And, people, all the time, and I'm just going to say this, I'm saying this to the world. This is how I feel about it, guys. Say terrible things to me and about me for, I can't believe that you've done this. You have total lack of compassion or empathy or care for the family. You selfish, terrible witch of a human being. You should go to hell. Like, but in more colorful language, So here's the thing, guys. And, the way people go after AD, and, the way people, get so angry and heated and just hateful towards one another over, being on different sides of, what they think about this case. Human beings are, naturally drawn towards things that confuse them, that are outside of their understanding, that scare them, that are, human beings are naturally drawn towards the unthinkable, because in situations that to us represent like, oh my God, the unthinkable, like the beyond reality, the beyond the nightmare, the beyond like horrific. When human beings observe real life situations that represent that level of terror, within us is triggered a fear. And this is I'm not just like blowing smoke up your butts. This is all, psychological brain mechanism theory, evidence-based theory. It triggers this, fear in us. And, this fear response triggers a release of neurotransmitters, of chemicals in the brain, of hormones in the bodies. I mean, our body chemistry will change. The way our brain works will start to change. The way, our respiratory system is functioning. Everything in the body starts to change. It's a very real thing. And this is, just upon hearing an example of something like this terrible. So then, in order to reconcile this uncomfortable fear and sense of doom, and any species of living things, our main goal is to survive, right? Everything we do essentially is an effort for survival of the fittest, our good friend Charles Darwin, right? And so it's like so you hear about things like the Watts case. I'm trying to sum this up in 2 minutes or less remaining. And you can't deny it's there, but part of you can't look at it, and that feeling of not wanting to look at it, and fear and disgust and worry for your own life is so strong. Your brain almost makes you look at it. And sometimes people go to, this is where the name of the channel comes from, a compulsory or compulsive or an obsessive level. And this is one of the reasons, that psychologists believe people are so fascinated with true crime, and there's been such a big movement of true crime dramas and reality television shows. So my point is, guys, whether Watts the Obsession or Kelly or all of you guys, or Armchair Detective or Mommy Ramblings or freaking Miss Mensa or Exist, people are still going to be talking about this case. It doesn't matter. It's not about Miss Mensa. It's not about Kelly. It's not about Armchair Detective. And I hate to say this, and please take this the right way, I care immensely about the Rusick suffering and pain. Immensely. I pray for them all the time. When I'm making videos, I cry often. I mean, I really feel their pain, and I'm talking deeply. But guys, the interest and fascination and almost compulsory drive towards studying the Watts case isn't about them even. It's about the potential and the potential of human being, basically. So,
And any way you look at it, no one theory makes sense.
right.
There's always something that doesn't fit. And I don't know if it ever will. We'll never know, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. I agree with that. So, oh, John McSmith, I didn't even see you here. So, okay, I'm going to add him up here. Hey, John, how you doing? Nice to see you. I'm sorry I just saw you. I just went off on a little bit of a soapbox there.
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. What's on your mind today?
Well, I was reading something earlier today of, I don't know if you all have ever heard of Henry Mencken.
The name sounds familiar. I don't. Please tell us
No,
about.
he's been dead for 70 years anyway, but
Okay.
They call him the Sage of Baltimore.
Okay.
And he said that I don't know, he was talking about something else, but he said people always hate that which they envy most.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's where when I read that, I was thinking, man, there's all these women online, and they hate NK. And why do they hate her? Well, I think they hate her because she's got a university degree. She's independent, at least what we know about her, what I know about her. She's got a university degree. She's never been hooked up with some man and been codependent on some man. She's had her own place. She takes care of her budget. She works out. She bought her own vehicle. She's never needed a man in her life, apparently.
Yeah, she needs her daddy.
And this makes this makes a lot of women are codependent, and I think that they're very envious of her because they know that about her, and that's part of what drives
a lot of people are codependent.
Yeah, I know.
John, and I agree with you, John. And you know what? I think the same all the time about how people feel about Shanann. Man, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I will say the good, bad, and ugly about Shanann. I really relate to Shanann. I connect to Shanann. Sometimes I feel like the same person as Shanann. In some ways I feel very different. And, you know, I admire her in a lot of ways, and I have some real problems with some things that we can observe, you know, from her Facebook posts in a lot of ways. And I think to, you know, say all of that is fair and it indicates, wow, she was a human being. Imagine that. And we're not erasing her history of who she really was, right? But some people freaking the comments that people make about that woman, you know, those are the comments I most frequently will remove. You know, I do leave some up that I feel a little uncomfortable about because they are so nasty. And I just want to be like, girlfriend, you know, if you feel this strongly about your, you know, disdain and hatred for Shanann, it's because you see yourself in her, you know, and that's okay. But, you know, when it comes out as this really negative emotion and conjecture, it's a lot.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with this whole watch thing. To me, it's never been a who done it, right? I mean, we know who done it. It's a why done it. When why did Chris do this?
Mm-hmm.
And as long so that maybe we can figure it out and be able to recognize it ahead of time in the future.
Uh-huh.
But as long as everybody focuses on Nicole Kessinger, who didn't have anything to do with this, and you spend all this time and energy going down I don't want to call it a rabbit hole, but you're going down a dead end. So you keep blaming her and trying to figure her into the equation, and she's not part of it. And so everybody needs to focus on Chris and figure out what's wrong with this guy to make him do something like this.
Well, there's also a middle ground, though. Just because we might think she could have been involved doesn't mean we don't think Chris is guilty. I mean, he did what he was involved to a large degree. If she helped, he's still guilty.
Wait, I just have to say a couple things really quick. So I just want to welcome my friend Kim, Justified. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And I got to tell you, honey, I totally agree with your comment, and I feel the same way as you do. So I want to make this clear that I'm not saying that everybody that has negative feelings or even really strong negative feelings towards NK or Shanann or whoever, you know, has some issue. Well, we all do. We all have an issue. We all have the freaking human condition. It's an issue. We deal with them all the time, right? But Unjustified says that's definitely not my reason of strong dislike for her. My reason is personally because she was cold as ice, knowing those babies were floating in oil tanks while their rescue was happening. And Kim, Unjustified, I totally agree with you. And
well, she's not talking about the interview, is she?
Well, wait just one second. I'm not sure exactly what she's referring. No, I think she might be, but just.
Well,
but,
Nicole didn't know the babies were in the tanks at that point, so she's just dead wrong.
Well, I mean, no, I don't think she's dead wrong. Okay, so well, I'm not. I mean, I think that we're sort of, you know, splitting hairs here, but. You know, she did know that, you know, the reason that she was in that police station on August 16th was because a pregnant woman and two little baby girls and an unborn child were, you know, like savagely murdered, apparently by their father, husband, the person that they trust most in the world. And she is just, you know, and this, see, I get heated about it, but
she doesn't know that they're murdered at that point. The cops have not told her that there was any murder.
Yeah, she knew they were murdered. Yeah, she knew they were murdered. That because he said, as you know,
we're now talking about
you were involved with a man who's done some pretty egregious things.
Well, and
so she did know.
He says a murder.
I didn't like her before I even knew anything about her, really. I don't care if she has a degree, but everything was about her, you know. She said, Chris, what did you do to your family? If you did something, you're going to ruin my life.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So you don't like the comment that she made, and so she must have some involvement.
No,
right?
No.
Then I don't get what's the point of bringing up a comment like that then? It means nothing to the case.
Well, because
it
you
goes with
just said
what
that she didn't know that the babies were dead, but she did during that interview. So
that's
No,
what
she did, because they were at the tanks extracting the kid, and when they extracted the first one out, it was during that interview, if I'm not mistaken. And as soon as they
but Chris had
first they
already
found
said
Shannon's body, when they verified that the child was in that tank right where Chris marked it on the chart, then they knew that he was telling the truth. And that's when they got her in there to I already told you guys this the other night. They got her in there because that's part of the evidence packet that's going in front of the judge to file capital murder charges.
and
And so they
they
got to
told
get her,
her
they got to pin her down and interview her and get her statement. That's a statement is what it is.
they
They're not
told her
interrogating her.
during
They
that
already
interview
know everything.
that he committed they told her during that interview that they were dead. And she asked at the very end of the interview if they had found their bodies or something. But no, the comment about her saying he's gonna ruin my life, that just goes to show how cold she is. And that's what detectives do. They look at how people behave after
Well,
murders.
it sounded to me like she stated a simple fact that this whole mess is going to ruin her life. And guess what happened? It ruined her life. Because
well,
nobody will leave her alone for a minute. And so she was absolutely correct. The cop also told her, "You're one of the most intelligent people we've ever had in here."
they did.
Yeah, right at the very end of the video, he tells her that, and she says, "Oh, well, thank you."
Well, I don't know.
So she knew what was going to happen. She knew she was going to lose her job. She knew the press was going to hound her. She's not stupid. She's the only smart one in this whole thing.
Okay, well, that's, that's fine. That's one thing about this channel. I saw Utter Nutter saying it to a person in chat is, I allow the full gamut of perspectives, and I believe wholeheartedly in freedom of expression and your right to have your own opinion and your own beliefs. And, I believe in our potential as people to have all of that and still, have good interactions and be respectful of one another, and do things that are productive to have good outcomes. So I have all these crazy ideals that I think are very realistic that I really this channel lives by them. So it's okay that you think that. I don't agree with that, and if you'll let me just get word in on that, it's, and please just hear me out, please. I just ask kindly that you just hear me out, okay?
Yes,
so what you said was, the point that ADHD brought up, or maybe I brought up, she went a little further into it, that, she was very, concerned. She was concerned about herself. You say, oh, well, she just made a statement. She's in there to make a statement. But John, the thing is, and I'm an applied behavioral analyst. One of the things that I do is, observe people's verbal and nonverbal communications to the outside world to analyze and evaluate a lot of things, depending on, what the case at hand may be. Okay. So it's not just a statement. If she just said that and that was isolated alone, that would just be a statement. It's a pattern. It's a pattern of verbal and nonverbal communication, actions, attitudes, and it's more than a statement. It is. It's definitely more than a statement. And I think, and you're right. She knew she was going to lose her job. She knew that, the world, in her mind was going to come crashing down on her. But, we were just talking about, and please hear me out, the difference between Nicole Kessinger, who is not in the witness protection program, and, somebody who is in the witness protection program because they meet the standards that qualify them. For Nicole Kessinger, although this totally effing sucks, man. She was dating a married man who, if we believe his last confession, offed his entire family, and the entire world knows about it and thinks he's the most disgusting person in the world, because maybe he kind of is, right? She was dating that man. She was really into him. She was, in fact, saying that she wanted to give him his firstborn son 2 weeks after they started dating, according to their timeline. And she was looking up wedding dresses and whatnot. So yeah, of course she's going to be ashamed of that. But, really everything that happened, she was involved in a terrible situation. I can't imagine. Hopefully in my life and you in your life, we will never be that closely connected to something as egregious and horrific and on the edge of, pushing us past insanity. But, compared to the people who do qualify and meet the standards to be entered into the witness protection program, everything she experienced, John, was really an inconvenience. I mean, freaking Shanann's life was taken from her at 35 years old. Bella and Celeste's life were taken from them at 3 and 4 years old. And this unborn baby who had nothing but potential ahead of him, all of that was erased from the earth, and all of this suffering. My God, the Rusicks lost their daughter, their grandchildren, or Frankie Jr. lost his sister, his niece, and his nephew, and he doesn't have any more siblings. I mean, all they have is Dieter, and they wanted Dieter so badly, and they kept asking the Thayers, Nick and Amanda Thayer, to make sure they were taking excellent care of Dieter because that's all that they had left. I mean, so what Nicole Kessinger, was facing, I don't, to say an inconvenience might be, minimizing it, but, I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. What I guess I don't understand. Maybe you could tell me, or I'm sorry, who else is on the panel?
Her name is her screen name is ADHD Life.
Yeah, ADHD. Yeah, right. I don't know, but all I ever hear is, that she said this or she said that. I guess I've never really heard what people think her actual involvement is, unless you, because like you said, she's not a witness, right? Because she can't be in the witness protection program because she didn't witness anything. She was at home.
Well, it's not even that she's not a witness. It's not even that she's not a witness. She wasn't. If this had gone to trial, we don't know. One of the factors is that that person's testimony would be, material towards the conviction of this person who they knowingly understand and, acknowledge, along with law enforcement and the courts, may inflict harm or retribution upon them due to their part in, but their necessary part in, we certainly hope, seeking justice and being a part, an actual practical and pivotal part of in trying to ensure justice happens for crimes such as, organized crimes. Well, I mean, this was a very terrible crime too, but, that wasn't happening. I mean, she was Chris Watts' lover. She didn't have to fear any retribution. She did, know she was probably going to lose her job. That sucked, but, this is on my mind, and I just thought I shouldn't say this, but you know what, I'm going to say this. She was so upset and so worried about losing her job. Listen, don't sleep with people you work with, because that's a really good way to lose your job. I don't want to go down that road, but, it's like, I don't think these things were all like done to her and she's this victim. She, in my opinion, she was, it was a very dangerous game she was playing. And I believe that to some degree she knew that. And John, I said, you may not have heard me say this before. I really do believe that, you were saying, she's this really independent woman. She doesn't need a man. And I can see that perspective, but I can also see that, in my opinion, this part of her that is very insecure and very spiteful and very needy. And I think that sometimes in people, those two things can exist and we can see both things, right? Go ahead.
I just wanted to say something about the word witness. I noticed a lot of people, when they're talking about true crime, they kind of, think witness means that they physically saw the crime happen. That is a type of witness, but when you're talking about a court case, you're up on the witness stand. You could be a person's brother that lived in a different state when this all happened, but you're on the witness stand giving information to the jury. There's
Mhm.
Yeah, but that goes
witness
back to
does
what
not
she was
mean that
saying
you
about.
actually saw the crime happen.
That goes back to what kind of, I forget what the word that she used to describe that testimony, like pertinent or something, but that wasn't the word.
Material.
Material, yeah, right. See, that's not material to the
Yeah.
case. It's just
Right.
peripheral information, background info that you're talking about. That's why you wouldn't be in it.
Yeah, well, maybe, you may be right, John, but I guess, the thing is, and the reason that, I try to stop people at this point before they really start going at each other's throats about these things is,
Well, I'm not trying to do that. I hope I don't appear that way.
No, I don't. No, it's just, I guess just reading, Unjustified, I'm sure well, you're a very peaceful creator, but I don't think I'm a very polarizing person. But anyway, people do really go at it. But, we don't know because, Chris Watts offered a plea agreement. DA Rourke accepted it at that point. The clock stopped, even though it seems like it stopped before. And, the trial never happened. So trials are freaking crazy things, right? Like we never know like what twists and turns are going to take. So we don't know, ultimately what her role would or would not have been,
Well, Chris, if she had testified,
mhm.
does Chris have connections to people that would have offed her? I don't think so.
No, exactly. Right.
Her
Yeah.
testimony would have been basically what that interview was. That's what they would have showed at trial.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they would have asked questions about it, but you can't. The
But she was not.
defense
I don't
can't bring up
think
stuff.
we have no reason. I'm not saying that it's not true, but from the information we have been given, we have no reason to think that someone was threatening her life if she testified in court.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I don't think she's in any kind of witness protection program anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people do. A lot of people have that belief. So that's what we were actually just working toward, kind of demystifying.
Well, this whole thing with beliefs, that's just kind of like you can believe anything. I can believe the moon is green cheese if I want to believe that, right?
Right.
Are you gonna respect that if I tell you the moon is green cheese?
No.
What if I tell you the earth is flat?
No.
So that because they're ridiculous statements to make, and there's no reason for you to respect them. And that's where I am on some of these comments that I hear about Nicole Kessinger. They're like saying the moon is green cheese or that the earth is flat.
Well, no. If you
ridiculous.
provided us, if you provided us with physical evidence that there was green cheese on the moon, that's different. We have evidence that shows her character.
Well, it shows her character, maybe.
It shows more than that. I just put the link up in chat, guys.
We're talking about triple murder here, though. So you have to have evidence of a triple murder.
Okay, when I ask this question, I don't mean to sound like I don't mean to have a smart mouth when I say it, but it's probably going to sound that way. Do you watch a lot of court cases, and do you listen to a lot of like actual videos of detectives interrogating witnesses, suspects, that sort of thing?
I don't watch stuff. A lot of I don't know how you would describe it.
Okay, well,
like armchair detective.
No. Like even Dateline or 2020.
No, I don't
even
watch
things like
that.
When they
Forensic files, none of that.
When detectives are maybe explaining why they started suspecting a person of a murder, they will often say, well, she showed up at the candlelight vigil and she was happy. They talk about the person's behavior after the murders. Well, how were they acting? If they think a wife killed her husband, is she acting sad?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like when Scott Peterson got busted and he he had dyed his hair blonde and he had a bunch of cash and he was going to Mexico.
Yeah.
Well, that's what that is. They call that evidence of flight, and that's not evidence that he killed his wife.
Mm.
It's suspicious on the part of the cops to where they drag him in because the guy's heading for Mexico and he's got his hair dyed blonde and he's got $5,000 or whatever he had in his pocket.
John, listen.
That's not a crime, and that's not evidence.
No.
That it's suspicion to haul him in and question him and see what he's doing.
Yeah.
Well,
listen, deleting your text between a married man you had an affair with, whose wife and 2 children just disappeared, and breaking your SIM card, which is almost impossible to do, and then failing to be forthcoming with law enforcement about the whole situation and reasons why. That's what we call
contradictory
guilt.
Contradictory statements.
It's consciousness of guilt, and it's one of the indicators of having a criminal intention.
I don't see any of that in this case. And where is the evidence on this SIM card thing? I don't ever remember reading that.
She told them she broke her SIM card. It's in one of those interviews, like one of the last interviews where she had her phone with her and she was like, "Oh, I don't know how to work this phone."
Oh, I don't know. You're talking about the 3.5-hour video?
No, it was. I think it was after that one, maybe.
Well, yeah, I know that's the latest one that Frankie uploaded. That's I don't even remember any of the other ones.
No, yeah.
Well, you need to listen to all of them. You'll see.
Well, I don't. There's no in the 1900 pages of discovery. There's very little on Nicole Kessinger.
Yeah, exactly.
That's because she doesn't have anything to do with it, and so she's not in there. Just like I'm not in there, because I didn't have anything to do with it either.
Mm. Oh, oh, come on, John. You know that's not a sound, logical statement. I mean,
it most certainly is. The reason that discovery is the evidence that the state first presents in front of a judge to file charges, and then it's going to use for their case. That's it.
But they redact stuff that they don't.
They redacted stuff, but it's in there. But it's just going to be marked out.
Supposedly, she gave bombshell information. They interviewed her about 5 times. There's like 5 different interviews of her, all available. You can listen to them.
Well, what'd she say? I mean, she's
okay. She said somehow she knew that Chris had this routine where he would sleep in the basement when Shanann was home. And she said, when Shanann was home, he had all this time to talk to me. Mm-hmm. Well, but then she goes to say they didn't meet until June, and Shanann was in North Carolina. I mean, that's just one contradictory statement I can think of right off.
I don't see how that's.
The fact is, she lied to police. She lied because
she's not under oath and she's not Miranda'd or anything.
But no. She is giving official statements towards a triple homicide that ended up in 5 consecutive life sentences plus like 84, 87 years or something like that.
And giving false testimony to police, that they could have charged her with that.
I mean, so.
This is a deposition. This is entered as a legal document.
No, she never gave a deposition. She never gave a deposition. That's a different thing there. She never did that.
Well, I don't know. I dropped out of law school. I don't want to go back into all these little particular.
Well, a deposition has a specific legal term, legal meaning. Well, it's not just some statement you make.
Well, no, okay. Just like a contract doesn't necessarily have to be on a paper and signed with ink by the 2 parties. There are different kinds of contracts, such as verbal contracts and agreements, and they have certain kinds of qualities that classify them as such. The same is testimony towards a criminal investigation, where it is entered and treated as, being a sworn statement like a deposition.
Okay,
I'm going to say a civil case. That's what that is. It's a civil case.
Yeah. I want to say one more thing, and then I have to get off. This is how cops and detectives figure out who is a suspect and who is.
Yeah. Whoop. Oh, I can't hear you now. You just dropped off, sweetheart. Bummer. Are you there?
This
I'm
is
here.
not a witch hunt, and we do not know why she Googled Shanann in 2017. That
Man,
is
I tell you
why
what,
I am suspect, because they admitted that they didn't really care. She had lots of suspicious behaviors, and maybe she was not involved. But when they make the statement like, this is not a witch hunt, I cannot vouch for why she did that.
Right.
That's why I'm still obsessed with this
even
case.
if she did that, it doesn't matter. That's why the cops didn't deal with it, because it doesn't matter.
I
Do you
don't know.
understand that?
Mate, listen, here's what I have to say about this. And I'm not like saying this to be like, I think I told you guys I had a headache when I started. I'm getting like a worse headache now. I don't want like all these little details back and forth about Kessinger. Like, this is what I found, man. I mean, I've had this channel for, about a year. It's grown really quickly. There's been lots of conversation, lots of comments. I literally read them all. Until recently, I was responding to all of them because I like to give people the respect of doing that if they take time to leave a comment on my channel, but I just can't keep up with the volume of them anymore. But listen, people believe what they believe, and there ain't no anything you're gonna say to somebody that believes Nicole Kessinger is innocent. And they're just like, I can't, a person who's like, I can't believe everyone's saying she's guilty. It doesn't even make sense. It's like, and John, I'm not picking on you or anything. I'm just using this because you just use this example. It's how you feel about it. It's like saying the world is flat, and there's nothing. I don't believe that. I don't know if she was involved in the act itself, or something beforehand or something after the fact. I could explain what I think of each of those, but it's not going to be tonight. But I think that, and I've made several videos about this, that just based on what we know, the evidence, the proof that we have right in front of us, in Colorado, a person doing the same thing would have criminal charges imposed against them, but she did not. And people like me, I've read, I've heard, I've listened to so many cases against my thoughts on that. And I listen and I acknowledge and I respect other people's opinions. And oftentimes people will bring to light something I hadn't considered, so my mind opens, hopefully, and maybe I sprung a new brain cell, but you're not going to change my general belief about this situation in the span of a live stream or being a creator of a channel called What's the Obsession for a year, and reading opinions and arguments and really intelligent points being made by a plethora of people every day, over and over and over again.
Hey, you said you found something new in the discovery. Did you already talk about that and I missed it, or?
No, I haven't yet. I was actually, while you guys were just going back and forth, I was just looking into this because I want to be certain about what I'm presenting, or maybe I'll just ask you guys, but I want to make sure I'm even posing the question right, rather than saying I'm going to do something and then having you guys be like, oh,
No, I wasn't trying to get involved in a back and forth with her, but
no, it's okay.
I just don't get how you blame somebody when you don't have any evidence. I don't understand that.
I know, and listen, John, and I believe that you wholeheartedly feel that way. And when you say that to me, like, I like, what my mind is trying to do is trying to understand that, because what I'm like saying to myself when you're saying that is like, oh my God. I was like, well, I'm going to have to sit down with him for about 3 days and explain all of the evidence to him. Or, you could just go watch all of my other videos and Unjustified's videos and, a number of other people, because I think that there's a mountain of evidence. But, I don't, we can definitely do a live stream where we discuss that, but I just don't have it in me this evening because I'm just feeling a little under the weather.
Oh, that's fine.
Our friend Unjustified is going to come up, John. I don't know. Do you know Unjustified? Unjustified is a fellow creator. She's actually one of the creators that she just started covering the Watts case again. Unjustified, you can tell us if you are still doing Watts Wednesdays or if it's a different channel. She's one of the creators who covers the Watts case that I still watch and appreciate. And I've always admired her and just, find her to be a really amazing human being. So I am honored to have you on my channel. Welcome. How are you doing?
Hi, Kelly. It's good to see you, girl. How you
Yeah,
doing?
you too. Oh, I'm doing good. So nice to hear your voice.
Yeah, we're having bad storms tonight. I can't get on my computer. Yeah, I'm supposed to be having What's Wednesday, but I can't boot my computer.
Oh, I didn't
up
even
now.
realize it was Wednesday.
Yeah, so
I'm
I
on
was
spring
just
break
like,
this week. That's why, yeah.
yeah, I was just like, I was on the phone and I see all this well stuff and I just can't do it. So I seen you, like, I was going to go over and show her some love, Go
Oh,
say hi to
thank you. I
Kelly.
really appreciate that. Oh, Yarn and Mittens. Oh, wait, just one moment. Yarn and Mittens, I'm going to put the link in the chat again, and you can come up any old time, my friend. So I'm going to put that link in the chat. You pop in, I'll see you backstage, and then we'll let you in, okay? You don't even need to knock. So what do you, I know your basic opinion. I think I've watched all of your videos.
I think everybody knows my opinion.
Yeah. and I think that you and I have a similar, I know there are probably, there's differences. Of course there are, but I think we have a similar basic opinion, and yeah. So
Right.
I'm
And
sure
I think it's, I find it, I completely, I'm just like you. I respect everybody's opinion, no matter what it may be. I'm completely unbiased. What I don't, I really want people to know is, a lot of people, and they're just like him, they truly believe the reason that we want to, I don't know, like come at Nicole with pitchforks is because of this affair. And she was so awesome. She wasn't awesome. And that's my opinion. She was nearly 30.
I read your
when I
comments.
when I was 30, I had 10 pounds more going on for myself than she did. I mean, it's nothing like that. It's her cold, calculated, just completely self-centered. And not only that, there's, as you say, plenty enough evidence against her. So, it's not that. And I wish people wouldn't get the concept and the thought that that is why we have an issue with her. That's not the fact at all.
Yeah.
Not with the majority of us. Now, there could be the limited few out there, but I've never met one yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's the phrase "plenty of evidence" again, but there's never any evidence. There's just a phrase. Plenty of evidence.
John,
well, John, just to be quite honest with you, I've never met you, and let me start out by saying it's very nice to meet you, and it's very nice to see another male's opinion in this case. And
that's right.
It's very good to meet you. I invite you to go to my channel. I've read the discovery out word by word. And if you were to listen to that, or you don't even have to do that, you can just click a link and read the discovery. And if you still feel the way you do, then okay. But I challenge you to do that and then form an opinion.
Well, it's very nice to meet you and appreciate your kind words. And I have I read that, but it's been like 3 years ago when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing in there about.
There's a lot in there, John.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
If I haven't seen it, if it's in there, maybe.
Then you didn't read it. I don't want to be ugly, but I mean, there's no way you can't see it. She painted.
Well, then how come they didn't charge her? How come Chris just went ahead and admitted that he did it, and then when he went into court and pled guilty to 3 murder charges when he didn't do it?
Okay, he had a choice. I spoke with his family before. Okay, on many occasions.
Yeah.
And he was told, you're going to get life no matter what. No matter, he already admitted to killing Shanann. And I'm not even saying that Nicole killed anybody. That's not even my theory at all. Okay, my theory goes way away from her killing anyone. My theory is that she helped him do the cleanup and the disposal. And I think she got immunity for rolling on Chris about where they were. They knew where those bodies were before he ever told them.
Yeah.
in my opinion, is she got blanket immunity for telling where the bodies were.
That'd be a matter of public record if the DA gave her immunity. You can't just give it to them and then keep that secret.
See, there's where you're wrong. There's where you're wrong. You need to look up blanket immunity.
And it can.
I'm just saying, and I don't want to be ugly here. I don't want to be ugly, but I'm just, I know, God, I know this case like you just don't even know.
I know this case inside and out, upside down, and inside any other way you can look at it. I know this case.
Really?
I got full confidence in the facts of this case.
Well, listen. So let me just anchor back to that podcast, that episode of the podcast from Dr. Phil that I had played, and he says that he says at the time that this podcast was written, recorded, published, and put out for us to listen to, that she at some point, it was his words, she at some point had to make a decision, and she was like, girl, you better save yourself. And I just had it in my mind and lost it, what it is that the Rusiks say, that she basically at the last minute decided to turn directions because she got scared, because the heat was on. There were three murdered people, and things weren't going down the way that she was perhaps expected. I don't know those details. And it was their belief that she got scared and turned on him.
Yeah.
That she got what? I'm sorry. What'd you say?
That she got scared. She chickened out. She got cold feet. She chickened out.
Oh, so she was part of something and she was going to do it, but then she backed out at the last second.
She was a person of interest, period. Yeah. They were stopped out at her house on the 14th. She was a person of interest until the fact that she called them and rolled on Chris.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to look and find in the discovery right now, the surveillance records of her person and her residence as soon as went missing.
They were stopped at her house on the 14th.
If you read it in there, you'll see her house was being surveilled, just like Chris.
I read it. If I read it, her house was being stalked out on the 14th. Dawn.
Yeah.
Right. So she was a suspect, just like everybody said she wasn't.
She was a damn person of interest. Is what she was.
Yeah.
She was a what?
She was being stalked. She was a person of interest.
Well, that's a term that the press uses so that they don't get lawsuit against them or for something.
Actually, it's a legal term. A person of interest.
No, it isn't. That's
two entirely different things. See, there's wrong.
There's nothing to that.
No, I know. Listen, I'm going to speak to this because listen, I did leave law school a year and a half in. The reason I went on a full scholarship, mind you, the reason I went to law school was because I come from an entire family of attorneys. Most of them are business, real estate attorneys, or criminal litigators. And I will tell you right now, I am 100% certain, because I heard it a million times in law school, and I've heard it. I discussed my aunt, she's now a librarian because she's just so sweet. She just has to keep doing different things and getting different degrees. But she was a litigator for 22 years. We talk about this case every 3 days for a really long time. And that is a term she would use along with the other, legal terms she would use. So, this is the splitting hairs that I just, I've split the hairs. And what I found, and I don't know if you agree on Justify with just, the people exchanging ideas and commenting on your channel, like, well, I accept them, and I really truly do respect everyone's opinion.
I do too.
But I see, people regarding this tragedy in this case, they are so huddled into their corners and staked out at their camps, and and that's okay.
Absolutely.
And there's a use for that, and there's a reason that we do that. We hold tightly to our beliefs because it's important to the survival of our morals, ethics, and integrity that we do that. But, there's very little movement. There's very little movement in thought or change in opinion. So that's why I've done this. I just don't feel like splitting hairs over NK.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Kelly, honey, I understand. I'm a channel creator and I get you, hon. I completely respect his opinion. I truly do.
Yeah, totally.
I don't want to, I respect him. I'm glad he's showing you support. You know, I mean, that's great. And
He came
I'm not.
on panel last live stream, and we had some really
Yeah,
awesome
that's
discussions.
awesome.
Not that we're not now, but I was
Yeah.
actually, I was
would
thinking, John, I wish
love
I
to
had your
talk to
email
him,
because
you
I wanted
know,
to
and
thank you for your contribution to the conversations we had during the last live stream, because it was pretty great.
yeah, I would
Well,
love
thank you.
to
That's
hear
very
his
sweet.
whole. Yeah, I would love to hear his whole theory. I really would. But I would also like to, you know, be able to say why I think I do, and for the love of God, don't come at me and tell me to read the discovery.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah, I mean,
don't do that.
Unjustified is like she literally read. Tell me if I'm wrong. This is what I believe, because I listened to a lot of it. I might be exaggerating, I'm not sure, but my belief is that you literally read every word of the discovery on your channel to your subscribers, and I was one of them.
Yeah, yeah. That's even after I'd read it silently a couple of times, and then I'd spoken with the family, and it's just there's just a lot about this case that the discovery also a lot of people don't understand is that is only the prosecution side. So if we got that much out of the prosecution side, imagine what we could have seen in the defense's side.
Well, why didn't Chris's lawyer release that then?
No, it's not that.
It never went to trial.
It didn't go to trial. I mean, the function of the defense attorneys, you know, they put forth a lot of motions in the initial hearing. I think that they submitted 19 motions, and they were all, you know, important motions, in my opinion. They were all motions that would be well advised. In my opinion, it seemed like the defense, you know, was doing their job pretty well for Watts.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
They were forming a case, Kelly, honey. They were forming a hell of a case.
They sure were. But then at some point, John, and this is how I see it, and just hear me out. It's going to take me 90 seconds, 2 minutes to explain the whole thing. At some point, you know, Chris Watts says, you know, I decided to take the plea deal. And John, I've listened to this so many times, you know, with, you know, my background is in you know, behavioral psychology and applied behavioral analysis. And I listen to his words from that perspective that I know so well, because it's my freaking job. It's my career, you know, and he says, you know, I didn't want to go to trial because I didn't want to pour this person through it, pour that person through it, and pour this person through it. I didn't want to but you know, John, I think, you know, what he realized, I think what the enormity of what he did, and trust me, man, I think he's right where he belongs. I think you know, I don't even know. Chris Watts, he's not like we're simpatico. He's not good in my book, believe me. But Justified. He, you know, he didn't want to go through all of that because he realized, John, that like all of these secrets that nobody knew about him, because I think that he was a very different person to the outer world than he felt within himself. All of these secrets, and I mean, some of them are obviously like the most horrible things you could imagine anyone doing, are going to come out for the world to see. And I think he didn't want to go through it. He just thought it was going to be easier to just roll over. He says many times that he never thought he was going to get life in prison. He thought he'd get a much shorter term. He just thought that was going to be easier, in my opinion. So, you know, the defense very quickly went to, okay, we're doing a plea deal. So now, rather than putting together a pretrial discovery that is going to go to a, you know, 2 years of like, you know, in court trial, they're just working on, you know, coming up with a plea deal that the DA is going to accept, so they can do what their client wants them to do for him. And also, by the way, the defense attorney, Chris Watts, defense attorney, soon thereafter became, I think it was like the assistant district attorney, something in the district attorney's office. And now that's a normal step. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a normal step. I asked several attorneys I know if that happens, and they're like, oh yeah, it does all the time. Actually, it happened to my dad. He went from that position to that position. But you know, he also knows that the district attorney really prefers that that something that could go to trial gets settled on a plea deal because he thought that it was economical, better for the community, and all of this stuff. So he immediately just flips into satisfying his client, satisfying the district attorney. Okay, you know, I can go to bed knowing I did my job well. I work within this district. He, you know, had a career, a future within this district. That, you know, so this is a really long-winded of saying, I just want you to understand that this is just like how it is. The defense never put together, documentation and submissions and evidence and for discovery. And we lost unjustified somewhere.
Well, somebody was saying in there in your chat about these phones, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in their discovery that they had Chris's phone as early as 3 p.m. on Monday.
Right.
So they got the house at what, like 12 or 12:30?
12. Yeah.
They go over to the neighbor. They go over to the neighbor's house for a little bit.
That's right.
And come back, and once they saw that video at Nate's, the cops are hot on Chris's trail from that. And so they said, hey, Chris, can we have your phone? And Chris is playing a good citizen. His wife's missing. His kids are missing.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't kill him, of course. So he hands over his phone at 3 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
They take it downtown, pull all the information off of it, and then they gave it back to him late. I think it was later that day or maybe the next day, but I think it was later that day. It says in there.
Okay.
But they got his phone on 3 p.m. Monday, an hour and a half after they first made contact with him.
Mm-hmm.
Or 2.5 hours after they made contact with him.
Yeah.
So he didn't have time to delete anything or do anything. So this idea that they had to have Nicole's phone, Chris is the one that did it, and they had his phone, and that's all that matters. And so they had everything on that, all the communication with her, everything, because he never had a chance to delete it or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And as far as the contents of that phone, it's too bad Justified left. If she says she read a discovery, I think a lot of that got redacted.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. And here's the thing. Here's one reason that splitting hairs about these things gets so uncomfortable with me is that none of us know what exists that we're not privy to, and I think it's a lot. You know, so I mean, even if we made our best logical arguments here with what we have, I believe there's a lot more reality that we're probably never going to know about, you know? So, you know what I mean?
Well, in a way, I mean, there seems like there's all these channels that they want to focus on Shanann and whatnot. And I'm not, they've all got a different angle. Some of them blame her and some of them are in full support of her. And I don't understand any of that, but
yeah.
You know, I like to just stick to the facts that we know.
Yeah.
And we know that they had Chris's phone, and we know that Chris lived on his phone.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had all the information off that phone at 3 o'clock, and then the dummy took it back. And so they're tracking his phone now because they took it downtown. They didn't just take the information off, they bugged it or something. So they heard every conversation he had after that.
Yeah.
So he was on the phone, I think, with Nicole, maybe on that Monday night when he spent the night at the house by himself.
Yeah.
I think maybe he was on the phone with her that night. I can't remember for sure, but I think
he was, you know, and
well, see, they know what that conversation was about.
Oh yeah.
We don't know. And see, we don't know, but the cops know. And so people act like that information is not known when it is. It's just not known to us because it's not our business.
No, yeah. Well, you know, last night, the conversation in question, John, was the 111-minute conversation that happened on Sunday night, the night before, prior to when Shanann arrived home from her trip, you know, prior to the murders, prior to the family going missing. So that was where we were talking about last night.
Right.
And you said, yeah.
And you know what I think that was? I think that was more of Chris and Nikki with their, I'm sure a lot of it was just, you know, talk, but I think there's some hanky-panky phone stuff going on there too.
Yeah, he probably.
Which is the other reason why, that's why she was so reluctant to give up a lot of what was on her phone, because there's a lot more nasty pictures and text than what got released.
Yeah,
and that's why she didn't want all that out there with, I mean, who would, right?
I mean, who would? But I mean, my God, like 2 little girls and a pregnant woman who, I don't know. I don't know. Who knows how they'd react in that situation? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, they did definitely get his phone. I mean, according to Kessinger, well, I'll tell you what she told cops about that conversation. It's going to take me not even 60 seconds. I already have the video all ready to go here. And it's just like a 2-minute little clippy clip. Okay.
Great.
So it just,
Bureau of Investigation.
Let me just find the exact spot.
And all
Yeah, it's been a long time since I went over any of this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, and gosh, it's like, now I got to tell you, John, unjustified, like she knows she knows the discovery. She really does.
Well, a lot of people don't bother to read it. I'm glad that she did. God bless her for that.
I mean, she read it herself. She literally read every single word of it over a bunch of different live streams on her channel, and then the discussion. So, I think you were totally respectful of her, but I think that she's definitely somebody to be respected in regards to her, opinion on this case, just in case you're not familiar with her.
Well, I'm not familiar with her at all. And if she's doing that, that's the right way to do that.
Yeah. So you actually, if you get a chance, I think you'd enjoy your channel. So, all right, here.
What's the name of it?
Unjustified.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. I may have been on there before, but I try not to get my info from stuff like that. But I didn't know that's what she was doing.
Yeah. No, that's why I wanted to give you the background. Okay, just give me one, and I just gotta find the audio here.
That Scott Peterson. Certain was complicit.
Oh, I know. Wait.
Everywhere. Time again. Sobbed while the charges were read.
No, that's not it. It's so. Oh, you know what? I got it. Okay, I just got to hop over to a different video. Does anyone else want to come up and discuss anything, or we sort of, with live streams, I just kind of feel like, well, however they go, and that's fine. I did want to read some comments from videos. I don't know if I'm going to do that tonight. Maybe I'll move that to the next live stream. But if you guys have any questions, any topics you want to talk about, if you'd like to come up here and chat, if you just want to put those things in the chat, in the, typed chat, you can go ahead and do that. And okay, I'm going to go silent for just a minute here because I'm a terrible multitasker. Oh my gosh. Okay. Alrighty.
The special kind of cold-blooded, detached psyche. Unless he's seen about.
Okay, so here we go.
Agent kept.
Okay, whoops! I know right where it is. I know. I feel like a mess tonight. Oh, go back.
Trying to change the.
Okay, so let me just put up the video because I just, put some visual to the video because I think really true. I just think it's so important. There are so many conversations that, can be had about this case, we've been having, but, and I imagine you would agree to some degree. I think it's just really important to keep in mind that there are real victims and real suffering. And, that's why, and real suffering, and I think that's one of the big reasons why so many still talk about this case. All right, here we go. This is what she said. It's not the greatest audio, but here we go.
The subject, which of course made her suspicious. Nicole also spoke to the Colorado Bureau of Investigation agent Kevin Kobach about an eerie late-night FaceTime call she had with Chris on Monday, August 13th. Now, remember, his wife and children had been missing since that morning.
So this is a call, John, that they had, and everyone, this is what she says they talked about on Monday, August 13th, that evening.
I think we were like talking a little bit, but he was laying down on a mattress that didn't have any sheets on it. And I remember asking him, like, where's your sheets, And he's like, oh, I washed them. I remember he was saying that he was cleaning the house to try to keep busy to take his mind off of things. I didn't honestly think that much about it originally because a man is always cleaning, like, just very, very, like, organized, like, meticulous, individual, privacy, like, super red flag to me. Like, honestly, he organizes, it's like something that just kind of, like, dawned on me last night as he made the comment directly after that. He said, I had to watch the kids' sheets. He was like, they smell. And I was like, I woke up last night and he saw a house so clean. That's like the cleanest house I've ever seen. Why would his kids' sheets smell bad?
Okay.
Of course, we now know why Chris had no sheets on his mattress. Remember, police found bed sheets in the trash at the Watts residence.
Okay, so he goes on
And
to talk
also
about that.
a bloodied sheet wrapped around Shannon's deceased body.
So, obviously, that wasn't very juicy, or, we were saying maybe they were having some sexual type of conversations, but, I don't know about that Monday night, but, John, all she says, of that 111-minute conversation that they had that Sunday night, the night before the family went missing and, the family was murdered, I did several videos about this. That length of a phone call was, I think you were in that live stream, much longer than any other conversation they had ever had. It wasn't like a normal thing for them to talk that long, and, this happened right before the eve of a very traumatic, life-changing, like earth-shattering, event. When she's asked about it, she says, we talked about a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of random things. I don't know. She says, I don't think anything really concerned me at that point. Like, and then he says something that even as far as the language he uses, that's very similar. I mean, John, there's no way that she didn't remember, what they were talking about that evening. And I'll tell you what it is that I think, and this is where I think she had some liability that would rise to the standards of criminality. I believe that, Shanann was coming home. This was going to be the first time in their relationship, according to their timeline, when, Shanann was like really going to be home, and she was going to be home for good at this point. There was no Shanann leaving now. It was going to be Chris with his wife and his kids at home. I think she wanted this relationship so badly. I think she was freaking out that, Shanann was coming home, and, reportedly, now I know that Unjustified, I just want to get a good picture up there. I know Unjustified has talked to Chris Watts' parents. I've never talked to them personally, but reportedly from a number of sources, Chris Watts' mother, does say that, that night before the murders, like an ultimatum was basically put out there. Like, you've got to choose, is it the wife in the family or is it me? Like, and I'm sure I just imagine it being like there was a lot of, and it better be me. And it turned into a volatile, unhealthy, possibly like unsafe situation. So, I don't know. And I personally think, and I think we see evidence of it, that, that kind of like psychological grooming was, going on in the direction of from NK to Chris Watts, who was a very weak and highly influential individual, easily influenced individual, by the way. I don't have very many good things to say about him. But, I think that a lot of these dynamics are a product of their extreme personality types coming together,
Well, that's a whole, I was on that a long time ago.
Oh.
And that was more between Chris and Shannon, or Shanann, whatever her name was, Shanann.
Mm-hmm.
Because Chris is, Watts is an English name, and Shanann is, she made a lot of comments about, I forget where they were from, but it wasn't North Carolina.
Right. Oh, New Jersey. Yeah.
Yeah. She's a Jersey girl, and she's Italian and all this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she's quite a bit different than Chris. And I always thought that played a big part of it. The fact that some people think it might be nothing, but I just think she's part of that Italian heritage and cultural kind of thing. And Chris doesn't know anything about that. He's English. Mm-hmm. If anything, he's just a plain old North Carolina hillbilly, but he's English. Initially, he's from England with a name like Watts.
Mm-hmm.
So I always thought that there was a dynamic there between the two of them.
Uh-huh.
That was part of why maybe they didn't get along. Yeah. Was because they were so different. Well, he's nothing like her.
Yeah. And as you're saying this, I just keep thinking that, Shanann and Kessinger, they were very different kinds of women. But listen, one thing that they had in common that I believe Chris Watts needed in a woman figure in his life was a strong, dominating, at times domineering woman who's going to take control. What I see is Chris Watts, kind of being a chameleon and shaping his personality and his reality and his likes and dislikes and his schedule and his values modeling it after that strong woman in his life who's going to crack the whip and tell him how it's going to be, and I think Nicole Kessinger had that quality too. And I think he needed it. I think it maybe wasn't the most healthy thing for him, because I think he needed to develop a personality of his own. But, this can definitely go deep down a rabbit hole. They're very different, but I think in some kind of archetypal ways, they're very the same.
Yeah, I don't know. Chris himself said that there was an incident where he slammed a door or something back early on when they first met, him and Shanann. He slammed a door or something, and she jumped to shit, and he said after that,
I never did that again.
Kept his mouth shut.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah.
And so I don't know that, he was like that initially. If she changed him, or if he just figured it wasn't worth it to argue with her, I still scratch my head on that. Maybe you got some thoughts on that, but I don't know why he was. I mean, just the one time apparently she jumped on him and said, "Don't ever do that again," or something, blah blah blah, and he never did anything ever again to piss her off. So yeah. I don't. I can understand men a little bit since I'm one. I don't understand women at all, but I don't get, just because I slammed a door one time, that doesn't mean I shut my mouth the rest of my life. But
yeah,
but Chris did.
But every individual person, we look for and we need something different out of our, intimate relationships, our close relationships in our lives. And sometimes what we're looking for and what we're seeking is not what's in our best interest, but that's what we do anyway, because, by the time we're adults, we've become in many ways creatures of habits. The way I've always looked at it is Chris Watts' primary, what he was looking for more than anything else was, I think it was his mother for a while. And obviously I'm not saying, when I'm going to say attractive, I'm not referring to his mother, but then when he became, older, a woman that he was, sexually attracted to, that, had a strong enough personality that he could kind of, the woman could be his tugboat, and he could keep, just chugging down that river of life. Because I don't think he had a personality of his own that was well formed enough that he felt like, or maybe he didn't even know it. I don't think he could have done it very well on his own. I just think that I don't know, but this just gets so deep into psychology and stuff. But yeah. Yeah. Let me just read a couple comments here. Oh, this is going kind of. RR says it was important for her to mention the sheets. Yeah, she said it's that strange, like she knew details about the case before they came out. Well, now, John, that little clip I played of Kessinger was when she she had texted Kobach like in the middle of the night, and he called her back the next day. And this was like all kind of after the fact, after her interviews in the police station. And, the 7-page letter she submitted and all those consecutive conversations, the way I look at them is, it's like they're the cover my ass files. I feel like, the way I read it and the way I hear it is she's disclosing things to law enforcement that she figures or knows they're going to stumble across that are incriminating, or that she feels might look incriminating for herself. To your point, RR.
Wouldn't it have been on Chris's phone, though?
No, it wouldn't have been on Chris's phone. Would that have been on Chris's phone?
Any incriminating evidence, anything incriminating Nicole, wouldn't that have been on Chris's phone?
Well, no, because not everything happens on the phone. I mean, they spend a ton of time together. They spent a lot of time together. They had conversations. There are things occurring just within their relationship, not happening over, like cellular transfer that, I think, we're stoking the fire of momentum towards this tragedy occurring. Let's see. We have a couple. Somebody said they have a question here. I have to make this bigger so I can read it. Okay, priestess. Here's my 2 questions. Brenda said 2 things that I asked for: any evidence or origin or anything where these theories came from. Okay. Oh, so she's saying, okay, is there any evidence? Do you know where these theories came from, basically? Okay, so number 1, that Chris, and then I have to go to the other, whoops. Let's see, the other message that Chris, to be continued. Yikes. Whoop. Oh, I can't say. This is a little hard with the 2 messages. What time is this now? It's going to be down. Priestess. I can't find your questions now. If you want to type the questions in the chat right now, Priestess, please go ahead and do. Or if anybody does, I'm looking at the chat right now. So Sarah Latte or whoever just said the calculator app was used for their messages as well. So that is another thing too. In the discovery, in the section where it talks about the cellular extractions, they say that it does not include third-party applications. So they're just looking at communications that are native to a cell phone carrier, like, basically voice over text or voice phone call transmissions and text messages. So it says explicitly that it's not, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, it's not covering all of the third-party app transfers. So we know Chris Watts used that secret calculator app, and, just looking into these apps myself, and also, hearing what other people had to say about them, they're usually not just like a storage bin. They're usually multifunctional and have like some kind of communication mechanism like WhatsApp or something. So I think, and it almost, in my opinion, indicates it in discovery. And I know a lot of other people have made good cases that I haven't even thought of or I didn't know about, to indicate that there was also a lot of electronic communication that happened through those third-party apps that the discovery digital analyst even said, we're not going to have any luck with that. Okay, Priestess says, oh gosh, I'm not good. I'm just going to say this right now. I don't much get into the evidence that came in the form of the autopsies, because that is not my wheelhouse. I'm not a medical professional. I know that, what's done in medical evaluations and in autopsies is so complex. And, my gosh, a medical examiner has gone through, a total of like 12 years of formal education to get to that point, plus so many practical hours as a practitioner. But I'm going to read it. My question: how does the remains rigor show that Chris did not act alone? Then when was she killed? Doesn't make sense. Okay, so let me ask you this, Priestess. Was this something that just came up in the chat, or where is your source of this information? I don't know. Are you here, Nancy N? Because you actually have a good answer to at least the small versus the large muscle order of release in or after rigor. Oh, you know anything about rigor mortis, Sean?
Yeah, those autopsies there's nothing from the kids.
Right.
And then the autopsy on Shannon, it doesn't, I can't remember how it read now. There might have been, I think she had did he break the bone in her neck when he choked her or not? Maybe he didn't. A lot of times in a choking case, that little bone in your throat will get busted. And I was thinking that hers wasn't. I can't remember now for sure.
Hers wasn't. Which, I don't even know. I try not to even interpret the autopsies because I'm not playing a doctor even on YouTube. But
no, there's nothing there. There's nothing there.
Oh. Okay, so Nancy, wait, let's see. So Nancy just says, Nancy, my girl, she just says, yes, someone in chat is talking about rigor. Nancy, are they talking about it a la the rigor, I don't know. Nancy, I wish you would come talk. Would you like to come up on panel, Nancy? You're good at speaking to this. Let me let's see. Jamie Smith, hi, yes. Okay. I'm kind of jumping around here, but still having to do with the autopsies. Did anyone hear? So, the defense moved to have the autopsy sealed. I've heard from several different sources, and all what I consider to be good sources that have, in different ways, a little more access or privy to certain kinds of information that like the general public would not. Well, this question's not even going to matter. I'm not even going to ask it. I don't like to talk about the girls' autopsies.
Yeah, that's pretty gruesome, man. I read it once. I read it once and it was enough for me.
Yeah, right. No, yeah, right. So, okay, small set first. Okay. Yeah. So, and just says I can't follow the rigor theory.
No, there's nothing to that. Everything was normal. They knew how long the bodies had been out there and everything was normal.
Yeah. Wait, just one. Yeah. So Priestess, you said maybe, yeah. Type, if you guys have questions, that would be awesome. Type them in caps because I'm having a really hard time locating them. Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, I and what was I thinking about this example? Okay, I know. So just recently I was listening to a portion of When Tammy Lee and Special Agent Coder were questioning, and it kind of then turned into interrogation, Chris Watts in Frederick, Colorado, prior to his arrest. It was particularly, the time after, his dad left, and he started to open up about, that he actually had, committed some terrible crime or crimes or whatever. And he, and Tammy Lee asks about the freaking sheets, and he's like, well, yeah, what's the deal with the sheets? Well, I threw some of the sheets in the trash in the kitchen, and then, Shanann was wrapped in another sheet, and then like there was a sheet blown around in the field. It all just makes like perfect sense. And then I also was reading something about the sheets and discovery that made perfect sense. There was no logical flaws or information missing or anything weird about it. And then when just Dr. Phil was talking, he was talking about what happened with the sheets. Some of them were left at the house. Some of them ended up out in the field. But, man, I'm going to tell you guys, for like a good year, some channels and certain channels and many channels there were extensive theories explaining who threw away the sheets, when, where, what, how, and what is this substance on the sheets. It's not makeup, and well, I agree with that, but so I think it's this, I think it's feces, I think it's dirt, I think it's oil, I think it's tar. Oh my God. Now, there was, in my opinion, there was never anything up for debate about the sheets to begin with. It's pretty freaking cut and dry. So what I'm saying is I'm becoming more and more aware of not allowing that to happen in my own mind or on my own channel, or when I recognize it happening like outside of the channel, I kind of, make note of it and make us and like our little community aware of it. It's so crazy to just make up all of these issues, debating about these little details in discovery that were never in question in the first place. So let me bring it back to what you guys in chat are talking about right now. A medical examiner is, generally speaking, a highly respected, highly experienced physician, generally speaking, who takes their job very seriously with great reverence, and additionally has gained the respect of people within the community to be put in a position where they actually have some type of jurisdiction over, this medical scope as it relates to crimes, doing the autopsies. If there was something really crazy that was off there in the autopsies that really stood out, but it doesn't. I'm just saying, like, I'm happy to be part of the conversation or see if I can figure out answers, but it doesn't make sense to me for us to keep brooding over them for, it's been a long time, and I don't think that anything's necessarily come of it other than some arguments.
Well, those sheets that were in the that he threw away in the house.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just speculating. I usually don't jump out on a theory, but my theory is that, you remember when he first came home and he left everybody standing outside for about however long it was, 30 or 40 seconds?
Yeah.
I think that's when he ran up there and stripped that bed and threw those sheets away. And the other two were, the one he had Shanann wrapped in, and the other one, I believe he wrapped the girls in. That's why.
You know what, John? That makes so much sense. I'm going to be honest. I never even freaking considered that, and that's not. I think that you could possibly be right. Yeah. Totally.
Because he had to get him out of the house somewhere without the neighbors seeing him, so he's not carrying bodies out of the garage.
Right.
He's got them wrapped in sheets.
Yeah.
He's got the girls wrapped together in one, and he's carrying it out like a bag. Well, that's what I was talking.
I believe that, in his last confession from Dodge, he told with great emotion, how the girls rode in the truck with him, to serve 319, and that their lives ended technically. that location. I believe, that's how it went down. But I think that, he had explained that, where did I hear this, guys? He had explained that the way that he got, Shanann into the truck, some people say, oh, well, he couldn't have put her into the truck because there's not a lot of movement, and that, unassisted weight transfer would just be so heavy. He's not that strong. So he said, that he obviously backed the truck up, and he put something right up against the truck so he could kind of, with the aid of the sheet underneath her, sort of slide her up like a lever situation, kind of. Yeah.
I pulled an alligator in a boat. Yeah,
yeah, totally. So, let's see. Yeah, there was no oxy in the autopsies and in the systems. Let's see. What are you saying that he did not mention in the Wisconsin interview, ADHD? Yeah. Oh, hi, Crackling Rosie True Crime. How are you? Oh my gosh. My ADHD, he also said in a second interview. I'm trying to see what you're referring to there. I don't believe you're gonna kill. Okay. So, Kelly, are there any updates on this case legally? Well, I guess, not officially. No, not officially. I guess I wouldn't have anything to say that I hadn't said before. I think that perhaps, the latest I know about it was when a friend of mine who's a criminal defense attorney actually made contact with, I've been given like parameters how much I can discuss, which makes sense, from mostly from him. I'm sorry, for his purposes. He did make contact with one of the investigators in the case who, conversationally, shared that all of the text messages were recovered. And then, what John is saying here, makes a lot of sense with that. I think DA O'Rourke himself basically said that, all but said that at one point too. So that wasn't really any kind of news. And also, what he reported to me was just conversationally, the investigator they spoke with, had a disapproving and kind of, I can't remember the word, but like a suspicious conversational tone when speaking about the mistress. And then, we have the phone call recording when David Carter, called in, and he had a really hard time getting a hold of the right person, but finally Tammy Lee gave him a call back. And I actually have that phone call somewhere. I don't listen to that a long time, but she said, interesting in that phone call. Have you guys all heard that? We're looking further into the what did she say? Digital records, I think. And she was speaking in present tense. I don't know if she was just pacifying him or if this is actually happening. And it's, taking a while. We're piecing some things together. And I was honestly surprised that she'd even called him back. But so those aren't really any updates, but that's the most recent stuff I know. I'm sorry, I don't have anything more for you. Unjustified, do you know if anyone knows anything more? Let's see. 11. Oh my God. I just realized how late it was. Let's see. Yeah, Diana Z, I think when he told investigators, well, first of all, he says, "Oh, yeah, my IQ is like 138 or 140 or something like that." That's a high IQ. You're going to remember the score. Like when you get your IQ report out, there's a score. It's the score. It's like you look at it's not like a range. IQs are reported out in a numeric score with subsets. I think that was all BS on his part. Yes, my ADHD life says it seems like he has Asperger's. I was on Armchair Detective talking about this at length. I did a few partial live streams on that, my ADHD life, because I don't want to overstep my professional boundaries by talking about it too much and giving my opinion too much. But yeah, I strongly believe that too. What bearing does it have on the case? I don't know if it really does, but I think, for people to understand that and what it means helps to understand, just, I guess, Chris Watts better. I don't know. This is good. Okay. Yeah. RR, you know what? Yeah. She says he's a smart guy at work. And every coworker said so. Yeah, you're right about that. So when I was just kind of like doubting his claim of his IQ, I see some things going in chat, but I'm not saying he's a dummy. I think he was like intelligent in that, like, that practical sense, which is awesome. And more than that, I just don't see his IQ as being 138 or 140, but I don't know. I've never met the guy. Let's see. Smart people have no common sense. That's true. Oh no, Ara. I don't think it doesn't appear that as I'm going through chat. It doesn't look like you're doing that, putting too much out there. I'm sure people appreciate. I see people responding. Yeah, Nancy, yes. She says, for me, the fact that she couldn't say Shanann's name is big red flags. Yeah. Did you see the video? We watched it during a live chat here recently when Kobach says to her, well, do you know her name by this time? And, as to coax out, really, can you say it? And she says, it's Shanann, through kind of, clenched teeth. And she clenches her fists together like it looks like I'm strangling a dog. It was really weird. I thought it was weird. He obviously has a very low EQ. Amen, sister girl, Elizabeth G. Let's see. I wanted to get to Sarah Latte said something. Yeah, and that's right, Brenda Kaufman. And as someone who works with autistic people all the time, I should always be saying this. Just a little tired now, but I always do say this in real life because it's totally true. Brenda says sometimes people who are on the spectrum, person first language, so we say people on the spectrum instead of spectrum people, are highly intelligent. That's yes, is oftentimes the case, and they oftentimes have incredible talents or qualities that, the way I look at it, and, this isn't something that's known for sure, is that, a brain that doesn't tend towards Asperger's or autism doesn't have the potential to go to those extraordinary places. So I think it's important that people understand that about people with autism as well. Let's see. Where's Sarah's question go? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think that this is spot on. So, did she want to create drama to ensure the separation, or did she suggest he pawn it, talking about Shanann's beautiful wedding ring, because SW wasn't going to ever come back and claim it? Well, I mean, I think that these are two questions, and yeah, I think she definitely I think if the separation wasn't looking like it was going to happen, at the pace and velocity of her preference, I personally believe, based on what we can observe of her personality, that she would absolutely want to create drama to ensure the separation. And, you know, I think that, you know, when she said to, you know, law enforcement, oh yeah, you know, Chris was like, oh yeah, you know, I got Shanann's ring, like, what should I do it? And I was just like, you know, like, pawn it, dude, like, pawn it. You know, I personally don't think it was said like in that way. I think it was, I think she's like, we got to pawn this, you know. Why exactly? I don't know. That's just pure speculation. Okay. So ADHD Life is basically mainly asking about Chris Watts possibly giving Shanann Oxy on Monday morning, not in South Carolina. You know, from what I can tell, the one part of the reports that I felt like I could somewhat make sense of was toxicology, but I might be wrong because I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on YouTube. But I don't think that there's any evidence of oxy. And one of the reasons, not necessarily because I could identify it so accurately in my ADHD life, but there are those out there that could. And I think it would be made a really big deal of, you know. Oh, yeah. So on Justify a while back, I asked, do you know of any new case details? And then I went off to something else. What do you think? Yeah. So on Justify at some point says, and I'm going through the chat backwards, but with only one opiate in her system, it would have been gone out by then anyway. So I don't know if you're talking about if it was given to her, you know, that Monday morning or in South Carolina, you know. I've heard, you know, a lot of people, you know, talking about these kind of things saying, well, you know, OxyContin is going to stay in your system for 3 months. I mean, guys, there's, you know, a soluble, it's anything is not going to stay in your system for 3. Well, I mean, there are like, you know, hair follicle tests, but, you know, basically things like heart, I don't know. Sometimes we get so crazy, guys. That's all I'm saying. We get crazy around here. Okay. Oy, oy, oy. So, all right, I'm going there. So April says, how do you explain the civil suit filed by the R's when where the medical report says that Shanann was in perfect health at the time of her death? So what happened to her lupus? So first of all, I never ever talked about this or disclosed this to anyone until I had this channel for a while, and I finally started to get brave and share it because it was something that interested me about Shanann. Some things I have in common with Shanann are my previous involvement with MLMs. And oh wow, it was 4 years ago in April, which it is now April 14th. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. Guys, I kid you not. April 14th, which is in like 22 minutes, is when I was diagnosed with lupus 4 years ago. That is freaking insane. I can't believe that that just came up, and that's in 22 minutes. Anywho, and so guys, what I know from having lupus is, oh my God, I didn't know much about it. I didn't know anyone who had it other than my grandmother, who, you know, is a Ukraine immigrant and passed away at age 96 this past year. And what I did find out about lupus is that it sucks. For some people, it's manageable. For some people, they have a really hard time managing it. Like I've been managing it very well for the past 2 years, but I still, get flare-ups. And everybody that I do know that has lupus, and I know a lot of people now because I joined like support groups and stuff because it was scary. And, for me, it attacks my kidneys, so I'd get kidney stones. I mean, I was like in my late 30s, very healthy, vegetarian diet, getting kidney stones that were so bad they'd put me in the hospital with kidney infections and 105-degree fevers. It was crazy. So I needed support groups. But I do know, and I don't know if Shanann had lupus or not, but I do know that there are people that believe if you say you have lupus, that you are like a psychotic, schizophrenic, hypochondriac. It has a stigma around it that, is very negative in a lot of ways. And I've been very hurt by people that I never thought would hurt me so deeply because of their treatment of this autoimmune disease that I definitely don't freaking want to have. And I've worked really hard to manage. And I'm proud and grateful that I'm doing it. So I personally try not to judge Shanann on that, yay or nay. Let me get back to your question, though. So what you say, my darling, is Shanann was in perfect health at the time of her death, according to the medical report. But I don't know if it says that. So I guess my question, April, will be, where in the medical report does it say she was in perfect health? And I keep meaning to ask my rheumatologist this question when I go there. But I haven't remembered when I've been there. Based on what I know the symptoms of lupus to be and the effects that it is likely to have on the body, and also sort of like the ebb and flow of the strength of the mechanism of the disease within your body. Sometimes it's like really present, sometimes it's not really present, and these are in super simplistic terms. I don't know if it would show up in an autopsy that a person has lupus. I think it would be more likely, and I may be wrong, and if somebody knows, please let me know. I think it'd be more likely that you would see evidence of secondary afflictions due to lupus. Diagnosing lupus is a process that requires, I don't even know, it's so many different types of blood work analysis. It's crazy. I couldn't believe it. And everybody I know that's been diagnosed with it says something similar. It probably wasn't a very satisfying answer. I'm sorry, April, but okay. Why were the autopsies sealed? Nobody knows. There's no reason given. Sealed by the defense. Yeah, my ADHD life. So you're saying Chris said, I don't know what she thought when she looked back. Yeah, you're right. I think that he was behind her. I don't think she was necessarily drugged. I think she was sleepy, and she was just naturally in a position of kind of submission and, dozing off of consciousness. I think that's why she didn't fight back. I think it's that simple. Could be wrong, in my opinion. That's a good point. Are somebody who has to Google when how it wasn't there something like, how does it feel when someone says I love you? It's something about the feeling. Very strange Google search term. This is funny. Unjustified says his high school teacher said he had a photographic memory, but he was so quiet and it looked like all the wheels were turning, but not much was registering. So Sarah Lottie, good question. She knew he was housebroke, right? Yes. I don't know what that's in response to, but man, she sure did know a lot about their finances, like a lot, for saying she didn't know anything. Yeah. Yeah. Chris Watts, I like that. Chris Watts is an enigma. An enigma wrapped in a mystery, something by a riddle and a rhyme, which I think is how someone described Russia. Okay. But CW is an enigma. His riddle needs to be solved. Why, Chris? I know. How? Why? Have you guys heard of the recording of Chris on the phone with someone, a female or a male? and Kate Googled all the legal stuff about their lives, but she read the newspapers. Well, listen, honey, she'd broken her SIM card. What's she gonna do? And at this point, she had Google search, can cops recover texts? And she realized that, yeah, they can recover everything. So she probably was not typing those long, spindly, sputter-like fingers on any keyboards or pads. I know. I feel this way. Who said this? Poor Shanann, Elizabeth. Poor Shanann having the enemy coming into her home. I know. I feel invaded for Shanann about that. I don't like that. Oh, very recent from this year, and it's with a female, Diane Z. Oh, yeah, I have that posted on my channel, I think. Is it with yeah, I have it posted on my channel. That actually, I put it out there as being from 2021 because that was the information I found out about. Many people have told me that I'm wrong, and I'm not trying to mislead anybody. I was just actually mistaken. Yeah, I've heard that recording. What is it about that? Yeah, Diana asked if he could get out, if there's any hope he's going to get out. I mean, I think it would be I think it's very slim hope, but I don't know. Hi, Molson Man. How you doing? Welcome. Oh, 10 minutes ago. I'm way behind again. Oh, let me catch up. Oh, no, your mom's friend died of lupus. Oh, no, don't tell me things like that. Oh, right. Jamie Smith, this is a really good point. She was on a dating site, and that is social media that she claims she didn't have. Well, that is a really, really good point. And, she says that she's been on eHarmony regularly. Anaphylaxis, where have you been all night? I just saw you because Molson Man addressed you. Thanks for being here, Anaphylaxis. Nice to see you. Oh my God, Nancy, I try to tell people you have chronic fatigue syndrome. No, thank you. I'm sure I'm sure though it's similar to lupus. It's just geez, I never knew. Oh, lupus is your secondary disease and you're in the hospital all the time, Jennifer Bedford. I'm sorry to hear that. There are a lot of people that have lupus that come to the live streams that are in chat and that, I end up talking with, outside of this, we have ourselves a little community. So Kitty Witty says, Autopsy says, I said unremarkable other than gallstones. I think this is in regards to Shanann. So yeah, so I don't read the Autopsy as saying in perfect health. Gallstones, unremarkable, and I don't know. See, this is how I feel. Yeah. So my ADHD life says if you had it under control, is it possible it wouldn't show up in an autopsy? So this is just what I know about from having myself. So I had a really hard time. I was very sick for, a little while after being super healthy my whole life. It was very strange. Night and day, like my whole world was different. And, it was crazy. But and I was very sick very often. When I get blood work done, it would come back being all weird. There were indicators of the existence of, that I have lupus in my body through the lab analysis when I was sick. When I have gone in to have blood work and other tests done after, I've gotten things under relative control and I was feeling good. Those indicators were, drastically lower or not present. So if, the presence of lupus being observed in an autopsy is anything like it is through lab work and, your body in your lifetime, I think that it's possible it would not be observed. I don't know though. Yeah, Kitty Witty, she did say Thrive cured her lupus, and that's not possible. And there's medical reasons why that is. So yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right, Ara. Yeah. Oh, that's a really good question. Who is that? Okay, so Sarah says $500,000 in insurance on SW. Did she have a double indemnity policy? Where it would be double, yeah, if it was caused by an accident or outside factor. Double indemnity is a good question. I've never heard that come up in regards to her life insurance policy. And I don't know if I'm thinking about, is there any way that one would be able to find that out? Yeah, I know that's a good question though. You're a good thinker, in my opinion, for educational purposes. Yeah, yes, on my ADHD life. For many people, that I can pronounce it just fine when I'm not looking at it written, but yes, is often a secondary of lupus, or the lupus itself will cause symptoms that are basically the same as I don't know. So yes, it's very much like that. I think with perhaps some more like complex blood markers, but yeah, again, I'm not a doctor. Oh, what? Kitty Witty, you said you felt good on Thrive too, but the side effects are worse than Ritalin? Please explain how that is. Yikes. Yeah, well, April, I see things like this, right? But she wasn't involved in Thrive when, she says that she got her lupus diagnosis, which was like back in like, it's like right before she met Chris, I believe, like 2000. Yeah. There are some things about that. I'm not going to go into it today, maybe sometime. Yeah. Molson Man says, do you think that the Frederick police will ever release Chris Watts' phone to the Watts family? I don't know, but one thing I do know is that when, my friend Alex, who is the criminal defense attorney who I went to law school in, except he graduated and passed the bar and became a successful attorney, and I did not, because I was dismayed with the judicial system in the United States, and I wanted to teach yoga. It just wasn't my thing. But anywho, when I finally got him to start looking into the discovery and the case and talking to me and some other people, he went out and, contacted people having to do with the case all on his own, basically. This was one thing that stood out for him. I've talked about this before, but he felt that, and there's not a degree of certainty here, obviously, the fact that they didn't release the phone back to the family was strange, and it was an indicator of an ongoing investigation because there would be no other reason that they would hold on to it. That's a very strange thing. The conversation that we ended up having was like, it's not like, law enforcement, can keep these items like a freaking souvenir or something, or a momentum, or like these, it's just protocol. You gather these things for evidentiary value, and then they are returned to where, as a matter of protocol and procedure, we always return them to, which in this case, it was going to be Ronnie Watts. It's a good question. So Anaphylaxis says it's not illegal. It's not oh, right. It's not. Yes. I was like, are you smoking your crack tonight, Anaphylaxis? Just kidding. Anaphylaxis is former law enforcement. It's not legal to claim that supplements cure diseases. That's a really good point. And it's not legal. And, it's personally extremely reckless. Okay. Priestess says, if Nate's camera showed little feet though, right? Nate's camera, this is what AD just, pointed out first. And I believe this to be true. I always have since the first time I saw it. I'm like, oh my God. I've tried to see it as being other things. I do believe that, it appears that a shadow, moves towards Chris. He's, face towards and walking back towards like the garage, or turns around, picks up the shadow and puts it in the truck. Yeah, I did a live stream recently in Video on Thrive. I have the part 2 coming out soon, but I tried it as an investigate. It's when I was like checking out this case. I wanted to know what it did. And it was like, and the video that I have up recently about Thrive, I went through all the ingredients, guys. And like, I think that I personally believe there's something in the patches, and this is getting off topic, but most of the things you ingest orally, the drinks, no, all the drinks, they're seriously all different forms of sugar. So if you, and I actually like the black and white label patches. But if you're gonna spend money on anything in Thrive, guys, don't get like the drinks, not the boost, not the active, none of that. Oh, that's okay. Oh, wait, let's see. Thank you. Thank you, Anaphylaxis. I appreciate that. Let's see. Who are we talking about? 80? Oh. When you chat, oh, yeah. Yeah, that's too bad about the hate channels. But you guys know that my position in my feelings towards the channel Armchair Detective and Alan. I think he's been good to me. His whole team's been great to me. And I don't have anything bad to say about him. Let's see. Diana Z, yes, what's up? I watched it on this current channel titled. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and 2001 is wrong. That's what I was just saying. I think if you're talking about that interview, I really need to change that. It was a totally honest mistake. I didn't mean to be misleading. I just was doing a few things and I got mixed up. Let's see. Oh, no, I don't feel disrespected. Thank you very much, though. Thanks. You guys are so sweet. Chat's always good here. I don't mind. I know some channels really don't ever want to mention other creators. I really don't mind. I don't want people to bash other creators. I'd prefer you not do it here. But, I believe in giving each other props and compliments and support and shout outs. And, what goes around comes around. And, I don't feel like I have to hoard anything. And even for those that do like to hoard things, I say this all the time. YouTube has literally infinity views available. If you want them, go get them. Okay. It's all good. I'm not saying that to you guys. I'm saying that to the people that get really crazy about it. Oh, yeah. Seriously, Sarah. Priestess says, I thought the Oxy thing came up because Chris said he slipped it to her while they were in North Carolina. Yeah. I think that the thing is, Priestess, people speculated that, that there's no defensive wounds or on either of them, indicating that Shanann fought back. Perhaps that's because he gave her something to kind of sedate her, but I just think she was freaking tired and she was, not with full consciousness. Oh, that's right. Unjustified reminds us that second claim came from Cadle, just like things do sometimes. She's a nice woman, but I don't know. I mean, I personally don't know. Whatever. I'm not even going to go there. Oh, here, watch some driveway footage while I checking the chat. Okay. I didn't realize that I just had that one picture of someone. Is info out there that I don't know yet, so I want to find anything out I can. That I like that curiosity and drive to find information, Diana Z. Unjustified, let me know if you have anything to contribute. I mean, I guess I just don't know what it is you do know. Something I just, I know I can tell you about my own channel, what I've been doing. Just like a few days ago or a week ago, I put out, it's the Nicole Kessinger documentary, a fact-based, retelling of her timeline and her actions, behaviors, and interactions as it relates to this tragedy and her relationship with Chris Watts, basically, and anything else that might be relevant. So I put out a video about a week ago. It's about an hour long. It's like the Nicole Kessinger documentary part 1. Nicole Kessinger's timeline from Sunday night into Monday, and then looking back to when I believe things really got moving as far as possible plans for this tragedy on July 14th. So I'm not saying that's anything brand new, but I can just say on my own channel, with the help of, people contributing great information, I was able to put some things together in a way that I hadn't seen them before. I hadn't heard them explained before. And that the feedback I got from people was that, that work that we did together brought some clarity and kind of forward movement. I'm very tired though. I can't really articulate any better. I think we're all looking for new info, Diana. Of course, priestess. Oh no, yeah, we don't want kidney stones or stomach pain. Yeah, I think that she had that weird relationship too. Yeah. I know. It's don't let's just get away from the lupus conversation. I don't even like to talk about it on this channel because I just don't like to. Oh, yeah. Thank you for being here on Justify. It was a pleasure to have you here. I'm honored. Thank you for coming up on panel. Yeah, I love your stuff. Keep it coming and we will be in touch. I'm an official Unjustified member, and you're awesome. I'm sure you guys know Unjustified. If you don't, go over there and subscribe and check her out. She is the goddess of the Watts Discovery, and she's very down. I think anyone who enjoys what they get out of this chat or content on this channel is definitely going to like Unjustified, I think. Oh, that may have been giving myself too much of a compliment. I don't know. Let's see. Jamie says, back to my original question. Oh, that's so funny. From yesterday. I was talking about something so not that, and I was so heated about it. And you come up with a crystal under the bed question. I was like, what? The crystal that was under one of the girls' beds. And who's holding a crystal rock in the photo? Okay, listen. So from what I understand is that it was a rock or of some, that it was not fully identified, was found under the beds. Maybe you know more. NK was definitely into crystals, that's for sure. She obviously believed in the power of crystals. She, had a crystal that she was communicating with her spirit guide, her grandmother with, who had passed into another dimension. I understand some of the things that NK was in regards to attempted yoga practices and whatnot. And, oh yeah, I certainly believe that she would be imposing her energy on the Watts family, the Watts house, and anything that would influence positively the direction of her relationship with Chris Watts, for sure. And then, Watts Obsession sent you an email about insurance right from Discovery. Awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah, no problem, Diana. Yeah, I guess it was for me too. People were getting, and I understand why they mentioned the date. I think, if they don't know me or the channel, they might just be like, oh, this was like trying to like pull us in like fraudulently or something. But I think that's like the only big mistake I've made like that. It was definitely an honest mistake. She has, oh, okay, gotcha. Okay. Gotcha, Nutter. Thank you. Yeah, what Jamie is saying is true. She's responding to John in some regard, but she says there's missing video and stuff in Discovery, and there's a lot of it. It's referenced all over the place. John, sweetie, that's going to have to be another live stream. I'm getting tired, and I'm sure everyone else is too. Huh. Well, I never heard this either, Sarah. So Sarah says the Lexus was in the garage, and if someone opened it, closed it, the passenger door or trunk lid, it could cast a shadow, right? So you're saying that perhaps it accounts for the shadow that I and others believe is Bella. Yeah, that's an awesome point. I think there are things, obviously all around, given the fact that there's two artificial lights in the exterior there. There was a moon. I can't remember what it was on that night in August on those coordinates of Earth. Okay, so there'd be some moonlight. There'd be other ambient light from, houses around. And, as this was happening, we were going from night into dawn into morning. So now there's changing solar light. It's like, yeah, the shadows. Yeah, there's very little to go on with Nate's security camera footage. And I'm sorry, anyone who has claimed that they have a copy of that footage that shows you the person walking out of the garage with enough detail and clarity that person is absolutely, positively identifiable. Sorry, friend, you've just had smoke blown up your bum. Thank you so much, Ara. I can't wait to read it. And I really am going to take care of the other thing too. And I really appreciate that. That is awesome. I will read that tomorrow for sure. John, he says the Discovery claims there's evidence missing from Discovery. That's brilliant. Way to go, genius. No, okay, well, that's a little rude. All right. I'm totally exhausted. When I started this live stream about 3 hours ago, I told you I wasn't feeling well. So there are things in Discovery that indicate, yes, other missing. Yes, basically. Yeah, I know. It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? True, though. Huh. That's interesting. The policy card for the Lexus. Why do you think that is, Ara? See, now that's interesting because with him visiting my prepaid center, that shows that, he would have known how to reload one of those gift cards he was using for Mandarko, unless there was literally no more money around, which I just realized could have been the case for them because they were in way deep. I think she was going to lose the Lexus. I think that the, $10,000 taken out of Chris's. I'm sorry, guys, this is just how it is. And you know why I know this? Because I was involved in 3 MLMs, and this is what happens to people. I've seen it happen. I've seen the structure. I got to a high level in one of them and was, really given a lot of access to, the weird, I don't know. There's people pulling the strings, so I got to see the strings. As far as MLMs go, as you say, I'm at 80,000 level, which, people maybe think, or, people that you tell think that means you're bringing in $80,000 a year, income, right? No, that's not true. What that means is that between you and perhaps people under you, and then, to get to the high level, where you get the bonus car, you also have to have some highly achieving salespeople under you that are reaching certain levels. And that, all of that is bringing in $80,000 in whatever period of time it is. So, it's like if Shanann wanted to keep her status, if she wanted to keep the payment for the Lexus, if she didn't want to feel like a failure or disappointed in herself or others were disappointed in her, she wanted to keep the front up to some degree, and you can't blame her, you know. And at the end of the month, she's $3,700 short from reaching her tens of thousands of dollars goal. She was putting that $3,700 in. And I think some months it was a lot more than others. Okay. So, you know. Yeah, priestess. Always, it was a while ago. This was still 10 minutes ago. Yeah. So I understand some people in my own family who I always had a wonderful relationship with me touted that I had lupus. I'm like, why the frick would I lie about that? All it's done is cause me problems and like literal pain. Oh my God. Anyway. Oh, yeah. Please don't talk down to anyone. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. Okay. I already addressed that. Right. Okay. What? Okay. So, yeah. So guys, no, we don't dress each other. The chat in this channel always just goes like, you know, ends up going really well. I don't, there's too much nastiness in the world. I'm not going to create more of it on my channel. And if my channel creates nastiness, I'm going to stop it. I mean, like, that's how I feel about it. Oh, no. Jamie, you're good, honey. No, I don't even know. Why are you apologizing? You're good. You're good. You're good, Jamie. You're good. I'm having a hard time following exactly what's going on, but Jamie, you're good, and you're awesome. Yeah, all good. Yeah. Right. Yeah. CW got in the Lexus to get the expensive nice rock. Yeah, I think that's totally possible. Oh, that question. Oh, no, Jamie. No. I like that question. I think it's a good question. I'd like to talk a lot more about it. At the moment, I'm just getting really freaking tired now. I'm going to close shop soon. Yeah, let's definitely talk more about that, though. Jamie, I'm sorry if I said something to hurt your feelings. So Watts visited my prepaid center several times, especially at the sand dunes. Yeah. So, yeah. So I think that the logic there, I can't wait to read your email. I think that the logic there probably is, you probably figured is that, if he's putting money from the checking account onto those prepaid cards, then, Shanann is not going to see exactly where the money is being spent, except for that last dinner at the Lost Dog, which it seems was intentional. So yeah, I think that's what he was doing. Shady, shifty. Ugh. Hi, DTC Prime Time. Yeah, I was just that was that's kind of one of those like little forgotten corners of discovery for me. But yeah, that makes very, very good sense. No, John, we're not blaming anyone. We're good. We're all good. Hi, Karen G. How are you? Nice to see you here. So, all right, guys, I am totally kicked. I'm not, I started the live stream 3 hours ago and I wasn't feeling so super hot. I'm going to go to bed in about 3 minutes. So, thank you guys so much for being here though. And, John and Justified, thank you for coming up on panel. And, ADHD Life, thank you so much too, sweetie. That seems like that was yesterday almost. And moderators and Ara, I've got you in just a moment before I do go to bed. I've got you. And everyone in chat, thank you so much. And everybody who's watching this video. And, you know, you guys are all awesome. So, yeah, I'm just going to wait for a moment to see if anyone has any questions or concerns. Yeah, thank you so much, RR, for everything. And Jamie, if you are still listening, I'm sorry if I said something that upset you. I feel like I did. I'll send you an email. I think I'm just tired and wasn't following chat very much anymore. Oh, yeah, I just read you. So I apologize for my question during chat. I love your question during chat. I think you're great. You bring a lot to the chat, Jamie. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Utter Nutter. Thank you so much. Thank you, Utter Nutter. John says, hope you didn't ruffle too many feathers. Oh, you ruffled. It's fine. We're good. We're good. Okay. All right, guys. Everyone have an awesome night. Be safe. And I'll see you next time.